Hi there, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Hopefully we're live this time. Had a few technical issues because for some reason it decided that the moment that we went live was a really good time to kill the internet connection. So here we are, and I've got a special guest, Les
Back
Cliff.
again. You can't
Yeah.
get rid of me, can you?
So it's always good to have you on board. Actually,
thank you very much.
we've been spending today doing a super secret project. Don't tell them. Don't tell them, Pike. So we've literally come upstairs from doing that. Okay, come on, Zippy. No, naughty Les, bad Les. Don't tell the people what we've been up to. Zoe's currently trying to actually get the chat up. So we've got another computer over there, which is why you'll probably see us looking away to our left. Oh, what the?
Everything is going wrong tonight, guys, so we will get there in the end, but don't worry.
We've even got a little bit of a gangster lean going on here as well. But it's great to see. We're just trying to get that... oh, it'll turn up in a minute, so we've got no idea what you guys are saying at the moment. Oh, are we getting somewhere? Right, turn top chat into...
Yeah, give me a moment. I'm still setting up. This is what I have to work with, guys. This is what I have to work with.
Will you stop moaning and put the messages up? Right, so what we've got is Jamie Smith, hi to you. Digger Evans, Find It, Restore It, evening to you. Viaduct Central Model Railway, hi to you. Otis JB, Excelente. New Mills Model Railway, evening to you. Goot Valley, hi to you. 57305 Northern Princess, hi Jenny. Did you watch War of the Worlds last night? I'm afraid.
We videoed it. Well,
Did you? Well, I don't watch TV. I really generally don't watch TV. I'm a sad person who spends all my time doing my other hobbies.
I hope it's good.
Andrew Whiteman, we got our hi to you. Johnny Good, Johnny Be Good.
You've set her off now.
Yeah. California here's 70 degrees. I'm presuming that's Fahrenheit, because 70 degrees Celsius would be pretty cooking. Hi to you. Richie, Download Festival. Go. Oh, you go to Download. Boom, keeping it real. Hello to you. Tony Britton, evening. Jenny, Zoe and Les, evening to you. Richie,
Evening,
Download
everybody.
Festival goer, how are you? Zoe, Jen and Les. Well, I'm pretty good. I'm shattered. But...
So am I. I'm shattered. That's why I'm on the floor. Prostate on the floor.
Right. I'm going to try and... Oh, let's have a look. Warrington it just jumped. Warrington Trace Spotter 2778. Good evening to you.
Good
Mark
evening.
Wilson. Evening, my ducks. Les looks shorter than on TV. Yeah. I've given him a stool to sit on, and he's just like lounging like some kind
I'm under Jenny's thumb. That's why I'm down here.
Yeah. Mark Wilson, evening technical cupboard monkey. Oh, she's got it fixed now. Mark Rice, hi, great to see you. Timber Surf, hi to you. Derek Grant, hi all. Devans GWR, it's great to see you again. Sorry, we've got a weird kind of gangster lean going on here.
That's because we've been watching that episode of Star Trek.
Yeah. Do you want a cushion or something?
I think Zoe's going to bring me a cushion when she comes back.
Right. Grand. I think I could. Oh, we're getting some cushions. So we got
Thank you very
different
much.
GWR. It's really great to see you again. I've not seen you down for a while. Digger Evans, freezing cold here in Pendle. It's actually really cold here as well. We had quite a sharp frost this morning. I'm going to try and turn that around to get a little bit more of Les in shot.
Yeah, that's got my bottom comfy now.
So there we go. We got Les having his gangster lean over in the corner here. Warrington Train Spotter 2778. Has Les fallen down the hatch in the loft?
No, that'd be Zoe.
People keep saying
nobody falls down that hatch.
Yeah. Don't back me up here,
Yeah,
Les.
no,
Everybody
it's
goes
as
like,
safe as
"Oh, it's
houses."
dangerous. Oh, you're going to fall down. You need some kind of a hatch." Well, nobody's killed themselves yet.
Nice.
So if you don't hear from me again, then you know what happened. Ravencross Model Railway, good evening to you. Richie, Download Festival goer, I'm gutted I'm not going to Worley due to my bad health. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to be there on the Sunday, so I do have a lot of business to take care of. I've got to do a lot of filming, but also I've got to do some... I've got a meeting with somebody from one of the manufacturers about review stuff, and we talked a lot about that last week.
We did, didn't we?
So I think we kind of... Yeah, we got around that topic, but today's topic, we're talking about how rich do YouTubers really become? And it's one of the big things. I mean, well, you're on YouTube, but do you actually post videos?
I haven't posted very much on YouTube because I just don't know how to use it with my mobile phone. I'm hoping in time Zoe will show me. So most of my stuff goes onto Facebook, and obviously nobody gets rich on Facebook.
No, apart from Facebook. Yeah.
But no, it's something I would like to eventually get into.
Yeah.
But I need some kind of setup, and I just haven't got it.
What's your actual channel name? Is there actually any stuff you've put up?
There is some stuff from the early days. It's just Not Lobia.
Right. So what is your channel called?
I think it's just called Not Lobia.
Is it Not Lobia or is it Les Cliff?
No, I think it's Not Lobia.
Not Lobia. So go and find it and subscribe to him.
I think I've got
Encourage
three subscribers on there. So.
Oh, we can double that tonight. So I think it's Not Lobia, but it could be Les Cliff. But just check.
They didn't have a lot of interest on there at the moment because it was just a few early runnings of trains and things.
But the thing about YouTube is that I think there's this general misconception that it's like, oh, you got like hundreds or thousands of views, you must be making loads of money. And the truth actually is that doing YouTube videos does not pay the bills unless you are like one of these people who's got millions of subscribers, or certainly hundreds of thousands of subscribers. It's something that you kind of do on the side. So me, for example, I still have a day job, and I work for a distribution company that is contracted to working for Asda, and I don't generally talk about that, but that is what is paying the bills, paying the mortgage. I would love to be able to do YouTube full time, but actually it doesn't pay. YouTube ad revenue is not huge. If I say, I bought this, so this locomotive, the Ryhope Colliery NCB liveried locomotive, it's the Peckett B2 from Hornby. So with the DCC chip in, you're probably looking at about £110, something like that. Well, the actual video that I did the review, and I've had several thousand views on that, so actually what most people would consider a pretty good audience share, but it's still not earned anywhere near enough to actually pay for that. So if you think, we touched on this last week about, you should do your own reviews and not take review samples. You couldn't really do that to a great extent unless you had an income from elsewhere, because the actual ad revenue off videos on YouTube rarely, if ever, pays for the products that you're reviewing. You don't simply earn enough. There are other sources of income, such as Patreon, which is why you'll find I mention it a lot, but an awful lot of other YouTubers will bang on about Patreon, and the reason for this is it is the way you try and make the money to make the figures add up. And maybe if you're lucky, you might make £100 a month off Patreon if you're lucky. We're not talking mega money. Anyway, let's have a look at some of your comments. So, Leslie Gilpin, Les is sat at the right height for watching the layout. And as I say before, because it's really difficult to scroll back through the comments, if I don't read out your comment, we're not ignoring you. It's just, we're trying to discuss stuff as well. So I'm going to dip in and out. If you've got a really good question, do ask it again. Not like repeatedly hit there going repeat. But if I haven't addressed it in like 5 minutes or so, then do ask again. But Gary Cox, hello all. So I hope the day finds you well. Timber Surfer, go to Wally every 10 years. So as went 3 years ago, I have to wait 7 years. The Growler Blackwood Engage layout. Good evening to you. Good to have you aboard. Richie Download, Festival Go. I'm planning on building a shelf layout which would direct rail service, depot, yard, more about Ravenscroft Model Railway. My problem is getting the views in the first place. And yes, this was something that I was talking with somebody the other day about. And actually, it doesn't matter how good your content is if you don't have the viewing base. And if there was a magic formula for getting views on YouTube, everybody would be doing it. It's as simple as that. So for example, I've had a few viral videos. So if I took them and just created a new account and put the same video, uploaded it to a new account instead, the chances of me actually getting more than a few views are very, very slight. So it's not necessarily about the quality of the content, it's a whole host of things. And if I knew how I got big, there's a snowball
Does YouTube
effect.
work like the algorithms of Facebook? is it?
To some extent.
Yeah. Because on my groups, I keep getting asked, invite friends to your pages, not Lobia, not Lobia Gardenia, friends of not Lobia, and there's a link comes up and it says, right, invite, and then you get a list of people and you can say either invite all or certain ones. So I normally just invite all and send it, and then hardly any new likes ever come from it. And then for the next day, it doesn't give me a chance to ask for anybody.
I'm just going to, before it disappears off the top, Cardismo, you're absolutely right. If you're concerned with views, subscribers and return on investment, then you're focused on the wrong things. Absolutely true. And what I was trying to beat around the bush with is basically I have a real job. I say a real job. It would be lovely if I was able to do this full time and make a living from it, but I don't. And pretty much anybody that you see doing model railway reviews on YouTube, we all have to have another source of income because it just doesn't pay. Nobody got rich quick out of YouTube, so I think anybody who comes to YouTube seeing it as a get rich quick scheme is going to be very, very disappointed. It just doesn't work like that. And essentially what Zoe and I always said and still say is that we're making videos that we would have been making anyway. And
for
if
the pleasure of doing it.
Exactly. In some respects, it's a bit like the same reason you take photographs when you're on holiday. It's this portfolio of work for you to be proud of. It's like, look what I did. I didn't just spend my life just sort of sat scratching my bottom and going, "Oi, cupboard monkey, bring me beer." But I'm covered in plaster because of this super secret project that's
a word.
I've got him well trained. Because you kept blowing the gaff. You
I did last week, didn't I?
Oh, I'm just whittling the jab lines. As far as the rest of us were concerned, you were down in the cellar strapped into a rubber diving costume with the bottom cut out. But yeah. Stephen follows. Hi guys, big shout out. What new release? Look, it's just gone off the top. Let's see if I can scroll. Actually, let's see. Jenny needs to write more stories. Well, actually, it's an interesting point you make about that. That's my other source of income. I am something like 12 or 14 times published author, and yeah, I make money out of that. But again, not enough money to give up the day job. But I do have a lot of books out there. Not all of them are currently available, but I did have a copy up here somewhere. Where's the other?
I've got a book out that I'm in.
Yeah, but you don't make it. Doesn't have it? Railway Modeller with Rod Stewart. It's in page 999. Actually, if you go underneath the pile of books, you should find one of my books on the very top. Can you see it? Yeah, bring it out.
Beyond the Stars.
No, Bringing Home the Stars.
Bringing Home the Stars. Sorry.
So here is one of my books, and yes, it is real. There are real words in it, and yeah, it was a science fiction story. It's got really good reviews, including by people like Ros Caveni, John Ridgway, who's the artist who used to draw Judge Dredd, and he may still do so, but he's actually famous for being the first artist to ever draw Judge Dredd without his helmet on. You don't get to see his face, but it was a big deal. So my books are still available if you want to head over and buy them. That's probably actually my most successful one. Have you bought a copy?
I haven't. No, I haven't read any.
Right. Well, what does it say it costs? It says on the back, $7.99. To you, £8.
And if you sign it, it becomes worth less than if it's not signed.
Yeah, actually, I did a very comprehensive book signing tour, so finding an unsigned one is probably harder than finding a signed one. But what's everybody else saying? Yeah, Raven Class Model Rail, my problem is getting the views in the first place, very much so. Let's have a look. But yeah, Richie Download Festival goer, hi Jen, will you get the Hatton's Railhead treatment train wagons? Not my era, I have to say. Now, Hatton's did send me out a Class 122 as a loaner. Now, we touched on, being sent free review copies. Hatton sent me a loaner. They wanted it back, and I got to review it. And let me just try not to fall over. And pull me back. So we've just filmed the review on this, and actually, I fell in love with it so much so that I went, you know what? Can I just buy it? So I ended up buying it.
Looks like it's got little eyes at the front. It's
yeah,
got a cute
it is a
face.
bit. It's a Class 122 bubble car. in BR Root Learning Blue, so I guess it's suitable for 1970s, maybe into the 1980s. And I actually fell in love with this model filming the review. It was supposed to be a loaner to go back to Hatton's, and I actually ended up buying it.
It's got a face, which
Yeah.
not all diesels have.
Yeah, but if Hatton sent over for review a loaner of a railhead treatment train, yeah, I review what gets sent me, you know. I can't be picky. I understand that a lot of people, like that sort of stuff. I've just done some reviews on some N-gauge stuff. I don't do N-gauge, but company sent over some review samples and I reviewed them. And I will review anything, and I see it and say it as I see it. I'm brutally honest. You know, if something's good, I will, you know, I will heap the praise on it.
Have a look at it.
Yeah, just got very careful. There's a lot of. I love the. For me, the underframe detail.
I'll
is
just
the,
say,
yeah.
Colours and the seats.
They're on sale at the moment. It's why Hatton's are sending them out. I'm not the only person who's been sent a review copy. We've all had it on the same deal, and there's no commercial favouritism, as it were. They were literally loaners. It's like, we want this back afterwards.
How much are Hatton's selling them for?
This one was £99. So I just liked it so much, I bought it afterwards. It's like that advert, wasn't it? I loved them so much, I bought the company.
Yeah, the shaver.
The shaver company.
Ronson. Something like
Oh, is
yeah.
it the Remmel? Was it Remmel?
Yeah, something like that. It was a shaving company.
Yeah.
I loved the company so much I bought it.
Yeah, something like that. So let's have a look on
You
the
might have
comments.
to get one for me.
Leslie Gilpin, most views I've had to date is 514. That's 9 times my subscribers. Yeah, I've had some videos that had like 64,000 views, and I've got nearly 9,000 subs. So it does happen, and it is good actually when that does happen. But it doesn't necessarily follow that videos with lots of views don't necessarily make a lot of money. So don't assume because a video has tens or even hundreds of thousands of views that the person who put that up there is making any serious cash from that. Gary Cox, 2 right. Smash that like button. That's right, people. We've got 114 people on the live stream and only 12 likes. How can that be? Don't forget to click that like button, and also if you haven't done so, do subscribe. Yeah, New Junction, hi to you. Bubble cars everywhere. Yeah, I don't know which one did they send you to review. The Don Juan King Fox Junction. Good evening, modelers Jenny and Lair. Stephen Fellows. Hi guys, big shout out. What new releases are you looking forward to at Wally this weekend? I'm hoping that the Rails stroke Daypole Terrier is finally for sale, because that is one that I am looking forward to. Mark Wilson, enjoy the Sheffield Model Centre vlogs. Thanks a lot. Well, thank you very much, and a big thanks actually to Oliver Davies and John Barber at Rails, who reached out and invited me down there actually off the back of I did a comparison review for them at Ali Pally. Well, I asked to do it, but they let me do it, between the pre-production models of the Rails Terrier versus the new Hornby Terrier. And then they invited me to the launch of the D-Class model at the National Railway Museum. And off the back of that, I got an invite saying it would be great if you'd come and visit. We'd love to show you around, do some interviews. And they were really accommodating. And have you watched that video?
Watched part of it, and I put it onto my Facebook page as well.
Yeah, because they were very candid and very open, and I thought that was great.
All those boxes they'd got that weren't opened, the ancient stuff that they'd got as well.
Oh, the Cupboard Monkey says one of the lights is oversaturating me, so I don't know whether that.
Are you oversaturated
I
now?
don't think it's that one. Tough. It's just, I think it's probably that one up there, and I can't turn that one off without turning everything off. That's like the master light. Armory Junction, hi to you. Mark Wilson, do the suppliers that you review for see any upturn in sales? Do they tell you? Sometimes they do, actually, and yes, they do. It's the whole point. They wouldn't send out review samples if it didn't translate into sales. So I do get some of the figures. It's one of the reasons that you might see affiliate links down below, and part of that is, again, another, to be brutally honest, another revenue stream for the YouTuber, because you get like 1% or whatever of the sale, which isn't a lot in the grand scheme of things. But then when you're getting sent checks for, well, they're paid by backs, but when you're getting backs, you know, a sizable amount of money, you can extrapolate how much in the way of sales that went to. And actually, I did a review of, there's 3 models that I can think of that I did a review and they then sold out almost immediately. And one of them was the P class in SECR grey. Again, I just bought that one, but I did a review on it and it's sold out. And to date, it's the only one of the P class terriers that's sold out. I did the same for the Andrew Barkley shunter. I bought the CPC one because that was the livery I wanted. It's the only one to date, as far as I'm aware, that has sold out. And I did the review of the really good value Drummond 700 class, and that particular model has now sold out. Right. Leslie Gilpin, I've not tested the Mamod, it has to be said. Oh, it's just gone jump, 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 jump. Yeah, Remington shavers, that was
That's
it.
it, yes.
Yeah, I remember those adverts. Valleybrook 2 model railway, easy way to earn monetizers, troll your clicks and subs. No, because YouTube is onto that. If you click spam or get people to troll them, then their algorithms somehow find this out apparently, and they can demonetize you. And if they demonetize you, they generally won't remonetize you.
Right, guys.
What's wrong?
I'm about to head to the shop for the hairspray that you wanted for your super secret project.
Oh, shh. Yeah, don't tell everybody. They'll start to work out what we're working on. Hairspray. We're getting a makeover. Gok Wan's downstairs. Now that Les isn't in the rubber diving suit, we got spare space down in the dungeon.
Shush. Since I'm going out for that, do you want anything?
Did you want a Bud Light or something?
I'll have a Bud Light if it's all
A
right.
nice, refreshing light beer.
Anything else?
Dutch lager.
I don't mind any.
I'm absolutely full from the pizza. We've had pizza.
Right, that was the
Thanks.
last chance.
Thanks.
Yeah, no
Zoe.
worries. Actually, could I get some fizzy water with some juice in as well when you get back? Cupboard monkey. Is this moving on me? It just seems to slowly be moving round. We've got our gangster lean going on. Let me just... I'm going to just wedgie. Oop, no.
It's like the Titanic.
We've got this...
downhill.
We've got a gangster lean going on, and... Oh, I can't seem to fix it. Ah, no, it keeps swiveling round. Oh, modern technology. Oh. Just,
Amuse yourselves.
those of you who are prone to travel sickness, look away now. What the hell?
It's like a Martian tripod, isn't
Oh, for
it?
God's sake. I'll give you a tour of the room whilst we're here. So,
Yes.
Les, you can see, is sat
Yeah.
on the floor.
I do
I'm
have
sat
legs.
on the puff down here.
Les is not the puff.
Oh, Les, behave yourself. Right, really sorry about this.
That's fine. No.
Les playing footsie with the tripod. I've just seen flash up on the screen. This is beyond. Come on.
That's all right.
No, I've got my gangster lean. I'm trying to get rid of the gangster lean.
We're listing to starboard.
Ah. Dive.
Hit the iceberg on that side.
Yeah, and then it's twisting around, bloody thing.
Now we've got a list to the other side. We're in a
Oh,
triple C.
for God's sake, it's got 3 legs that have a mind of their own. Start again from scratch. Gangster lean and black and white stripes. Earthquake, yeah. Just bear with, talk amongst yourselves. Oh, man. It doesn't help.
Having to put it on a control panel that's at an angle. There we are. It's not far off. They won't notice.
Blooming will. People whine about the sound. You think they're going to notice an angled gangster lean picture? Come on, you stupid thing.
Right.
Stay. Right, anyway. If someone only had a tripod, where's the War of the Worlds layout? Interesting enough, I'm doing something with that tomorrow. So watch this space.
And we can let them know that it's been invited to Blackpool and filed in September of next year. hoping that it lasts that long, so you'll get a chance to see it there if you don't see it Ali Pali.
Yeah, actually, Ali Pali I think is the first big outing. But let's have a look. Yeah, loads of people saying Remington. Otis JB, I have a video on my channel that's been up about 10 months now, and in all honesty, I had forgotten about it and my channel in general, but in the last week or so, it started blowing up. Sometimes you get that. Zoe and I run a webcomic, well, a couple of webcomics, but one of them is called All Over the House, and somebody who thinks they're old gangster with their hip-hop, trip-hop, and tripping up and stuff, they did a video, and I think the track is called All Over the House, and the hits on the comic went through the roof. I mean, we're talking, it went from, you know, maybe a couple of hundred hits a day to well over 750,000 hits in a day. I mean, it was practically like a distributed denial of service attack, and it was just unreal, and we couldn't work it out until we followed back what were people searching for, and then we found out there was this video with this wannabe guy who apparently was quite big, who had this video called All Over the House that people were all searching for. But yeah, New Junction says bubble cars everywhere. So I am curious, actually, New Junction. I'm just wondering which one you chose.
Why are they called bubble cars? Showing my ignorance.
I don't know, to be honest. I think because of all the windows. But when I say chose, I just want to point out that I'm presuming you've been offered the review sample from Hatton's, but it's obviously not a freebie. Just making everybody clear on that. Mark Samways, late on parade. Sorry, young Jenny and Les. Already over 100 in the shed. Open a window. We're not in the shed anymore.
No,
we're in the loft.
With no windows to open.
Yeah, we've just got a hatch in the floor that people keep complaining about. Hey, you fall down the hatch.
Push them down when there's too many.
Yeah, don't forget to tickle that like button. I'm looking on the screen there. It's actually become really hard to see because we've moved the camera, and the number for us is up here. There is where the number is. But that's quite a light bit of the beam, so it's almost the same colour. But yeah, mash that like button. Come on, you can do better than 31. 32. Yeah, I told you could do better. But let's have a look. Otis JB, it had stayed at 4,000 for its whole life until about Wednesday. Now it's at 16,000, increasing at a rate of at least 1,000 a day. Very confused, but delighted. It is great when you get a video goes viral. I did one, model trains running in the snow, and it was really just like a throwaway video. It was like a bit of fun. And then it got picked up by a national newspaper who linked to it from their website. And then all of a sudden it just blew up, and I gained 1,000 subscribers in the space of a week, as well as I think it got something like 13,000 views in the space of a day.
Good grief.
So it is nice when that happens. Let's have a look what else we got. Cottesmore, if you check out the Daypole stall, it shows they've really good return deals. I got my Arriva one for £50. This is the bubble car. Yeah, I saw your video about that, and I presume it's been repaired. I mean, in all honesty, I found actually DCC chipping it was the easiest thing in the world. But the actual the blanking plate, it's got dip switches on for controlling lights when you run it on DC. It's the most complicated blanking switch I've ever seen, to the point where I look at it and think, why don't you just, it'd probably been cheaper to put in a DCC chip and just set it so it would run on DC. You know, it would have been far cheaper than developing and making that very complex piece of circuit board. Let's have a look down. Yeah, hit the subscribe button and the notification buttons too, and mashing that like button just makes me smug. That's all that does. Just having a look down. Yeah, Digger Evans, absolutely the right sentiment. I enjoy making the videos for my channel. I appreciate every subscriber I have. Yeah, I do as well. And they're the reason why I have the channel, and that's why I keep going. It's great fun, and I value my subscribers. And a lot of the time, what you actually get back from a YouTube channel is this sense of belonging.
Yeah.
This sense that, you know, people appreciate what you're doing and what you're saying. And I always feel greatly honoured when I go to do shows, model railway shows, when I do preserved railways, when I go to model shops. I get recognised by so many people. And you know, I feel humbled by that people are interested in what I have to say and do. Because, you know, I grew up being mercilessly bullied through school. And, you know, I could have counted the number of friends I had at school on the fingers of one hand and probably still had 2 or 3 fingers left over. You know, I didn't have a happy childhood in that respect. So now as an adult, it's kind of nice that there's this group of people who are interested in what I do, that enjoy what I do, and I feel humbled by that. You know, I enjoy making these videos. I enjoy making models. This isn't a business, and I'm sure you're the same.
Same.
You know, it's a hobby that you enjoy. And, you know, hopefully that passion does come across. And, you know, that's the other thing as well. If you're going to do YouTube videos, do something you enjoy doing, that effectively you were going to do anyway. Because if you try and fake it, if you're just like chasing if you're chasing the trends and doing stuff because you think it's a get-rich-quick scheme, it's never going to work. It just isn't. Because there's always somebody who genuinely enjoys doing that, who will make a much more compelling video. Codismore, where's the cupboard monkey to sort this out? You shouldn't have to get up. I know. I would fire her, but nobody else will work for free.
She's gone to help.
Leslie Gilbert, I've not tested the man mod yet. I did unseize it. It was seized up on one cylinder. So, oh no, it's gone downstairs again. It was up here for a little while, getting a little bit of a repairs, but I've not steamed it up as yet. Just haven't had the time. Graham Kettering Junction, do you keep all these models or do you send them back? Right, just to get things straight, when I do reviews, most of the reviews I do are things that I have bought myself. Take this. This was a recent review. Just giving this as an example because it's sat right there. I paid for this myself. I bought it. I wanted it anyway, so I bought it. So most of what you see me review, and certainly up until recently, everything really, were things that I had bought with my own money. More recently, I've been very, very lucky, and I just feel really humbled. You know, and I've got to be honest and open about it. Some of the manufacturers started sending me review samples. It's not a huge amount. It's never going to be a get-rich-quick scheme, and it's never going to replace you going out and buying stuff with your own money. But I'm very grateful for that. In all honesty, because it helps me make more videos. But sometimes they ask for them back, and they'll arrange for you get like a courier just turns back up and picks them up. And I'm grateful for the loan because it lets me get to see models. And in the case of this bubble car, Hatton's sent me this as a loaner. They wanted it back, but essentially I decided to keep it. I thought, you know what, that's a really nice model. And you know, sometimes you find yourself doing that with the ones which are loaners, and you just buy it.
I just love the buffers.
Yeah, the buffers are nice.
Yeah,
actually.
they just
They've
got like little, you know, those big dopey eyes that you get with cuddly toys.
Yeah.
It gives it a character.
And then other stuff you do get to keep. And more often than not, I end up giving it away. I'll be honest with you, it's not necessarily something that's in my core interest. On a number of occasions, I've been sent a model which I'd already gone out and bought. So I ended up, I did the review, and very, very honest in the review because you have to be. And then I gave away the models. I mean, things like the Paddington set. I no longer have that. I gave that away to a very appreciative small child who was just like speechless with the appreciation for that model, and that was worth it for me. Other models I've given away to friends. I know I haven't given you anything yet.
You do a lot of work for me. You do.
I chip all your locos.
Yeah, I'm not expecting freebies in that sense. So
oh no,
we work together.
But yeah.
What's that? Les getting a perm?
Is Les getting a perm? I don't know, you're turning into a hippie there. It's getting quite long though.
It needs cutting and the beard needs trimming. I'll have to go and see Craig.
Greg Palmer, I'll have Drambuie, thanks. Oh, I'd love it. Actually, I like Glaver. Glaver's that. And if you got a cold, Glaver is very good for the sore throat.
Les was disappearing.
Yeah, I think because the camera started to slowly move around.
I'm shrinking with my age. We were talking about how you lose inches as you get older. Yeah. You said you'd lost about an inch in height.
Canadian Rail fan says, at the moment stripping down frames of my 5-inch 14XX tank. Oh, is there anything you don't have? You're just like, this sounds like a real modeller's mecca where you are. And let me guess, the top secret project is building model railways. Well, of course, if the pair of us, it's hardly gonna be how clean is your house or celebrity.
We're doing a bake-off.
No, it's celebrity can't cook, won't cook.
Can't cook.
Yeah, we just turn up.
No, we're going to be in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, aren't we? The jungle. I couldn't do that.
No, neither could I. I've got OCD and I really don't like creepy crawlies, much less eating them. I'd be there like, you know what, I need to lose a few pounds. I'm just going to go without.
I'm not so sure about all of the creepy crawlies. Some I wouldn't like. I'm not particularly fond of spiders. Snakes and rats, I could probably do that. But it's eating the stuff. That toilet must absolutely stink, when they've had all of this stuff. Things they've eaten.
I'm having
to learn you to read because it's.
Yeah, I'm trying to. It just jumped. No, you stupid thing. What is it doing? I have lost where. Oh, there we are. Kevin Bradley. Apparently, Pizza Express Woking do great delivery service. Oh, okay. Flymo Chairman 1 as compliant as FlexiTrack. It can be compliant. Oh, sometimes it has a mood to itself. Do you use FlexiTrack a lot?
I don't say I use it a lot. It's been mainly SetTrack because of the way I started with my limited knowledge. I was just using Hornby and Pico SetTrack, but I always find it very difficult to, when I'm doing curves with the FlexiTrack, to be able to cut the track properly. So I tended to stick for simplicity.
You get used to it. I think it's practice makes perfect.
But I think with some of the more modern trains, the SetTrack can be a bit of an issue, as we know, with tight curves.
Yeah, SetTrack has its uses, especially the curves, in my opinion. But everything else, I use Streamline.
Well, that's what I'll be using on the.
Yeah, I mean, all of the track bar one single piece on the really tight curve on the top layer over there is actually flexible track Pico Streamline. And I swear by it. I go, I hope bloody stuff. Yeah, I always do use that. But it can be a bit difficult to get to do exactly what you want. Especially if you've got some very precise curves, like tight curves, S-bends, that kind of thing. It can develop a mind of its own.
I can hear a cupboard monkey coming up the stairs.
Favourite curve is the U-bend.
Oh, talking of U-bends. Here comes the cupboard monkey. We had some technical difficulties. I had to fix it.
We went down like the Titanic.
I thought you were going to say something else then. Oh, thank you. So what do we got? We got any juice to go in it? Oh my word! Just give me a wee dab of juice. Oh, just put it by my feet and leave me to it. Yeah, I suppose so.
Thank you very much. Can't drink all those.
You don't have to chug and chug. Beer hero.
You all right?
I'm exhausted. It's been an exhausting day, and we've got another long day tomorrow.
It's been an exhausting week. I haven't stopped since the last live stream. Jen won't let me stop.
I haven't stopped.
I know what it's like. I've been working with her today, and she's had that whip out.
Whips and chains. Yeah, I've obviously slipped out my dominatrix outfit to come up here, but there
you are, Jenny Kirk, demonstrating that this channel is definitely not suitable for children.
Yeah, not for children.
Therefore, we don't have to deal with all that nonsense.
We like children.
Apparently, you have to tell them that you're not for children.
I've already told them that you're not for children.
So why does it keep asking me to tell them?
Because they have to.
All right. So I'm just gonna.
Hi guys. Hi.
The cupboard monkey's. Who's in the house? Cupboard monkey is in the house. Yeah. Right,
These are quite nice.
Yeah, I quite like them, and I like this.
Non-alcoholic, you said.
No, they're not alcoholic.
These are alcoholic.
Yeah, they're not like super alcoholic. But also I like because they're in like Coke-sized cans, so it's not too much. Yeah. I quite often find that a full-size can of beer, I'm a bit of a lightweight. So what I find actually is 2 of these, brilliant. But when you drink an ordinary like pint-sized can, 1, it's not quite enough, but then you crack open a second one, you end up having too much.
So what was your technical issues?
Tripod fell over.
That's not a technical issue.
It is.
That's a Jenny issue.
And then I couldn't get it put back together without a gangster lean.
Yeah, Humpty Dumpty project.
Ben Davis says, "Hi Jennifer, what would you like to see in the Hornby
I'm gonna edit your
2020
videos now.
book?" I'd like to see some of the other Trafford Park logos, or the Manchester Ship Canal ones. We've had DH16, the Sentinel. I'd like to see some of the others.
You would like a carriage that says Jenny Express. Just bringing all of your magazines to your house.
Maybe. I'd also like to see W4 packet come out as Manchester Ship Canal. I think it's 12 and 27. But that's just me, quite selfish. And also, I'd like to see more pre-grouping wagons. What else would I like to see? Maybe a Hawksworth full brake, but in rail blue. I believe some of them got rail blue. What else would I like? I think the Gresley full brake in rail blue might be quite nice. So I've got a BR blue thing going on. Angus's Trains, hi to you. Great to have you aboard. Cottesmore, don't forget Jenny at Worley. Say hello to us on the Hornby magazine stand. Me and New Junction will be operating the 4 layouts they are bringing. Oh, great. How do you snag that deal? That's actually pretty cool. Yeah, I'll be there on the Sunday, so I will certainly come and say hello. It'd be great to meet you. Obviously, Cottesmore had you on, a special guest of the channel, but New Junction as well. It'd be great to finally meet you, actually. I've been a subscriber for quite some time. I tend to be anonymous with my subscription, so if I subscribe to your channel, it doesn't tell you that I'm subscribed to your channel. I just find it more egalitarian that way. But yeah, I've been a subscriber for a long time. So yeah, it'd be great to finally meet you and chat. I think we've probably got a few little hobbies in common. Well, not just bubble cars, but trains. I like trains.
So do I.
Oh dear. Right, anyway, where are we? Flyby Chairman, hello Angus. Oh yeah, hi Angus. It's great to have you in, actually. I'm presuming that the clocks moving around have kind of put us in sync a little bit more. Nick says, I've just bought a chipped load haul one from Rails. Yeah, there's some good deals on at the moment. Cottesmore says, everyone can have a go on the layouts, inclusive to all. Operate layouts. Operate layouts at Worley with Hornby Mag. If I'd have known that, I'd have offered up the War of the Worlds one for. We were trying to get it into Worley, but it just proved like they just didn't want many. The GMRC layouts. They had the 3 layouts built by Railmen of Kent, and they've also got the Loco Ladies, Bucolic Britain. And inside the VIP area, which has actually been dealt with through Blackman, is the Who's Counting Rivets. I think it's Jurassic Park they've got in there. Yeah, Leslie Gilpin says, I'm going to Worley with my little brother. He's in his 50s, and now my other half days he's coming too. Yeah, I have my little sister. I've always referred to as my little sister. She's 35. I'm 40. So forever in my eyes, she's my little sister, and it doesn't matter how, we'll be like in our 90s, and she's still my little sister. Don Cragen says, please stop messing with the camera. Every time you touch it, the picture freezes and sound cuts out for 30 seconds or more. I don't think that's quite us. Ooh. What are those?
Black currant swells.
What the hell are they?
Don't say the cupboard monkey never provides.
Apparently the cupboard monkey does provide.
She's a very good cupboard monkey, but she's not good for my cholesterol. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
They're interesting. We need to do a tag team thing.
Oh, again.
Once you've swallowed that, you can chat to the people, and I'll stuff my face.
Right. What do I talk about? what am I?
Model railways would be a good start.
Model railways. Want to know what people think about this Magna rail thing that I've been looking at. Quite fancy having some moving vehicles on my layout. I've got plenty that are illuminated with headlights and internal lights, and I'm also working on gradually doing a little tram scenario as and when the new layout gets set up. But I came across, I mean, everybody's heard of fallow road systems and the Magna rail, but I hadn't heard of Magna rail until I saw this little video of a bicycle. And even my wife, who was sitting up in bed when I was looking on my phone this morning, and she said, that's good, you must get one of those. So tried to do a lot of looking on the internet, on Google and this, that and the other, and it doesn't seem to be very easy to get hold of in this country. I think it's either a Dutch manufacturer, or you can buy it in Spain and Germany and France, but there's very few outlets to buy it for in this country. Anyway, I've watched a number of YouTube videos. They're quite interesting. However, it does seem quite complex in actually having to set the track down. So you've got to decide really what you want to do first of all. You can't just sort of do it as an end-to-end. It's got to go in some kind of loop. So also I noticed that quite a lot of them, the boards were either quite deep, or they had to build up the road surface to fit the Magna track around. I just wondered how many of you lots have used this. What are your opinions? Whether you think it's overrated, whether it is value for money, what kind of pitfalls you might have come across.
Somebody asked to see the bubble car running, so it won't actually go all the way around on this track, and you can't really see the other ones, but you don't have to wait for the review. It actually is chipped and it runs really, really well, and there's a lot of lighting functions on this. So I can't make the interior lights work on mine though. They did on DC, but for some reason the chip, which is a Hatton's 21-pin chip, it isn't letting me activate the internal, like the passenger compartment lights. So I'm going to have to look into that. It says in the instructions that it will only work with an MTC compliant chip, which the Hatton's chip does claim to be, but it doesn't want to work on mine. So you can just see it trundling around there. It won't go all the way around. It hits the wall. It literally hits the wall over there.
It's nice. What are the bars at the front or at the back?
Well, they're the exhaust stacks from the engine.
Right.
But there we go. Now I'm going to skip through a lot of the comments because I noticed we're well behind. But there we go. I'll move that out of frame.
It's nice, isn't it?
Are you going to get one?
Well, you're going to get one.
Me?
Well, next time you go to Hatton's.
I'm going tomorrow.
All right.
Which livery do you want?
What liveries have they got?
You can have regional railways, if they've got any left. They're selling pretty good as far as I can tell. They've got BR Blue like that. Network Southeast.
I don't want modern, so...
They're not particularly modern anymore. They're like 30 years old. Oldie, I think that's probably the BR Blue is probably the oldest livery that they've currently got in the sale. They did do them in BR Green, but they're either not in the sale or they're sold out.
And this is DCC chipped. Right.
Oh, that one is, but I fitted the chip. But fitting the chip is dead easy.
You'll do that for me, won't you?
Yeah, I'll fit a chip for you.
Right, okay. I can give you some money tomorrow.
Hello to Lester TMD. Good evening to you. And let's have a look. Valley Brook 2 Model Railway is such a fantastic hobby to involve with you and meet fantastic people in the hobby. That outstanding the model skills. You get some bad seeds out there that ruin it for others, but it's all adversants. Oh, Flyman Chairman, the bubble car looks like Droopy of the cartoons. They do have a bit of a look to them, don't they?
That's a face.
Angus's Trains, I knew you'd ask about t-shirts. Oh, it's just jumped again. Angus's Train, where are you, Angus's Trains? Oh my word, t-shirts. Zoe hasn't had a minute to do the t-shirts. She is aware of that. She knew you were going to ask. We will get it sorted, but it's literally been nose to the grindstone for the entirety of the last week. I haven't had a day off, literally, neither has Zoe. So, like, for example, today, got up at the crack of dawn, and we've been, in the morning, I had to film a review, and then as soon as the review was finished, you rocked up, and we've been doing a secret project all afternoon until literally Zoe called time on us, and we came straight up here to do this. And as soon as this is finished, we're going to be downstairs and doing some more on this secret project. I've got him well trained. But Zoe's doing a lot of... Will you shut up? God, if you need a rumour spreading around the world as fast as possible, just tell him. God, and tell him. Now, Les, don't
tell anybody.
Don't tell
I
anybody.
won't.
Everybody go, hey, Les tells us that you're doing this. Oh, God. But yeah, t-shirt situation, I'm afraid, we're no further on. I'm really sorry. Formidable 38. Hi, Jen. What is the overall size of your layout? I never measured it. It's like, what would you reckon?
I reckon it was about 16 foot, 12, 14 foot by 12. And just sort of imagine
12 by 16 feet.
something
maybe,
like that,
yeah.
yes.
With boards around 3 feet deep
Yeah,
all the way around.
yeah.
Something like that. Let's have a look.
What's that?
Valleybrook 2 Model Railway. Jenny, MRCYG. Is that the Model Railway something YouTube group are doing something big next year? Maybe we could interest you. Certainly could. Drop me a line. Dave Cottersmore's got my contact details. So I'd be interested, definitely. Let me know. Certainly be interested in that. Cottersmore, RML Electronics. In your channel studio, you need to go to the monetization settings. That page has all the steps for you to follow. Ah, yeah. Something to do with monetization. Greg Palmer, have you ever done anything with MERG? I haven't, no. Canadian Railfan, my collection built up over 26 years, and a lot of my logos come from my dad, who died and got his tools as well. And in it, two level basement. Oh my word! And my 14XX in last level of basement. Oh God, that must be a lovely house. Warrington Train Spotter 2778. Whips, chains, and a gimp mask. Oh, behave yourself. Gary Cox, children are great, especially when you give them back to their parents. Can't eat a whole one. Oh yeah, amen to that. I'm with you on that. Cardoso Media, hi to you. Let's have a look. Richie Download Festival Go. Will anyone do GWR slip coaches ready to run? I think it will come eventually. Jamie Smith, does anyone not use or go on Social Blade to see what YouTubers can earn based on today's title? I'll be honest with you, I don't know, don't really care what other YouTubers earn. I know that some of the big ones like PewDiePie and that do make a living, but they're very much in a minority. Most YouTubers are sort of small, really small, like me or smaller, and we don't earn enough to buy all the goodies that you see us review. Generally, we're buying them because we were going to buy them anyway. So it's not a get-rich-quick scheme.
Cotsmore, question for Les.
Andrew Goldberg, greetings from Finland. Do I win the furthest away subscriber award? I'm afraid you don't. Angus's trains is further. He's in Australia. Cottesmore, question for Les, if I may, in his professional capacity. I'm looking to frame my old Cottesmore polo shirt and the sign. Does he have any recommendations? I think the best thing would be to contact you.
Contact me. I can do. I do all sorts of shirts, polo shirts. I've just done, an England rugby shirt with its hat and everything. So yes, it's possible.
Yeah. So Google Frame Around.
Or
look up his phone number. Give him a ring.
My phone number is Bolton 01204 397707.
397707. And now you finally managed to find that pen. Say it again.
Oh,
they've got a pen now. They can write it down.
01204 397707.
And that's Frame Around. And that's Les's business.
Yes.
So if you drop him a line and tell him I sent you.
Yeah, and you've got one more year left because next Christmas, that's it. I'm saying goodbye.
He's retiring, basically. Interesting. Warrington Train Spotter 2778. Les, if you take a look at Everard Junction, he has a Magna Rail setup.
I was watching that YouTube today where it has about 12 cars working on a huge section. Very, very interesting. Quite complex to actually make. Like I say, you've got to have a board that's deep enough where you've got to build it up.
Or you need a router so you can actually route in the where the thing's going to go. Otis JB says, go to the official website if you want to order it.
I've tried, having great difficulty, but it might just be my setup.
Cottersmore said, you need a lace DCC chip. They are the Daypol ones, but not branded as such. I found that out the hard way. Oh, for the bubble car. That. Can you smell burning? Cupboard monkey. Ah,
Oh.
right.
You're not on fire.
We're just checking it's not burning the house down. Where was it? It's in Lace DCC. I've been told that there's a little bit of naughty cloning going on. So even though cheap as chips, are they worth the money? They're certainly good value for money. From an ethical standpoint, I've been warned off by a few militant people. So, not saying you shouldn't, but I've basically been browbeaten into not buying any more until the court case is settled. Yeah, you can buy a Daypol Imperium chip, but the Hattons one claims to be MTC compliant, but it doesn't appear to be doing what it's supposed to do.
What
so
is MTC?
I've no idea, to be honest with you, but that's what the manual says. So I'm going to query that tomorrow with Hattons and say, oi, but it's not a deal clincher for me. But it would be nice if it just worked. Let's have a look. Let's have a look.
I'm going to have to change position because my leg's gone numb now.
Oh, interesting. RML Electronics. Oh, it just blooming jumped. Where have you gone? This is what I'm up against. Where are you?
The old man's
A
moving.
serious job is coming up at the NRM. Apparently, they will very soon be looking for someone to arrange the moving and improving of the O-gauge model railway to coincide with the redevelopment. Fancy applying? I know a few people. I could make inquiries. Actually, I'd be interested. It's a long way to commute. Wonder what they're paying. Fat Wallet Boy 2. Hi Jen, loved your recent tour and video and chat video of Rails of Sheffield. Thanks very much. And also love to extend a big thank you to John Barber and Oliver Davies as well, who set that up, invited me over there, and it was great to look around. They were really quite candid as well, so it was a pleasure to be able to interview them because they were very forthcoming with a lot of the backstory behind Rails and showed me literally everywhere. We just climbed through all the stock rooms, so that was great. It was as much fun for me as hopefully it was for you guys watching it. Let's have a look. Gary Cox says, what time is Les's curfew tonight?
I have to be home for 10 o'clock.
I Like Transport says, hi, sorry I'm late. Don't worry, you can also catch up with anything that you've missed in this video. After the live stream is finished, you can go back and watch it and it'll stay up on YouTube forever. But don't forget to tickle that like button and share this video too. That's really important. Let other people know about the work we're doing here on the channel. I'm sure it's slowly sliding round.
Once again.
I think it's this cable that's kind of dragging it a bit. Oh, we got our gangster lean back. Sorry about this, people. Never mind. Ken Patterson, great to have you aboard. I need to get back to you as well because you did invite me a long time ago onto What's Neat this week, and I really do need to hammer down our schedule. So yeah, I would still love to come on if that invitation is still open. So a big thank you to Ken Patterson. Greetings from the USA. You have a great passion for the hobby. Your friend Ken. Thank you very much. And you know, I think it's a great hobby, and I'm just so glad that there's never been a better time to be involved in this hobby because there's so much great stuff going on. And I've been quite honoured in a way that I've been approached by manufacturers to review stuff, but also to do tours. I've also, like Rails invited me behind the scenes. Hattons did the same. So there's a lot going on, which I think this hobby has allowed me to do so many things which I might not have otherwise done. And I feel honoured that I've been able to do that. And the TV programmes as well. Coddesmore, welcome. I Like Transport. Otis JB. Something I would really like to see from Hornby and other manufacturers next year are already existing models such as the LNER D16s, A1s. Yeah, Hornby tends to have this thing where they rest a model you know, they'll bung out, like year 1 they'll bung out 3 models, year 2 they'll bung out 2 models, year 3 they'll bung out a model, and then they like to rest it for a couple of years to kind of let all that unsold stock get sold, and then they bring it back to kind of get that pent up demand. And I think that's just the way that Hornby tends to work. Bachmann to a lesser extent, I've seen that a little bit as well. But yeah, there are certain models which you think, why don't they reissue them? I mean, I'm looking up there actually. I'm just trying to think models which are kind of lacking. I'm trying to think actually. There's a lot of good stuff being out of late. I don't know. I think at the moment there's so much good stuff coming through. Otis JB, ex-London and South Western Railway coaches, etc., released in their original pre-grouping liveries. I've never understood why they don't, and it really annoys me. I know what you're saying, but I suspect that, see, that one of the things you'll find is that a lot of items, rolling stock, coaching, and locomotives, underwent rebuilds through the grouping period. You know, the GWR, LMS, LNER, and Southern. And that tended to alter their look. So the models that the manufacturers are making depict them generally in their big 4 through to BR period. So they're not necessarily suitable to backdate to that pre-grouping livery. And I suspect that the London and South Western Railway stock that, was it Kerno, introduced, was rebuilt in some way, which means that the model that they produced technically isn't suitable for releasing in a pre-grouping livery. So I might be wrong on that, but that is one reason that I can think of. Gonads 1259, evening to you. Canadian Rail fan, it is a bungalow but with 2-level basement out in the suburbs of Vancouver. Oh, why? I hate it when it jumps. Oh, I like transport. Nicely on message where the Monday Club mugs are available. Well done, sir. Well done. The check is in the post. LMS8F Loco. I dream of the day I own a Packet B2. What, real or model? Jamie Smith. Does the likes button help you make more money for you as a YouTube? Most always asked to mash the likes. No, it doesn't make any money. I'm not getting money off those clicks because obviously the money's got to come from somewhere, and it doesn't work like that. What the likes do is it's about the algorithm that makes your videos appear higher in searches. That's really all that is. It's about statistics. The more likes you get, the more likely your video is to show up when people do a search for search terms. That's simply all it's down to. But don't forget to hit that like button. Blind Paul, I would love to go to Rails but won't tell my bank manager. Oh god, there was a box of wagons. In fact, there's one on the floor over there. I ended up with 2 wagons I picked out from a box of over 100. Every single one was a special. No, but it was like special commission. Really hard to get wagons. Stuff that's like gold dust. You just can't find this stuff, and they were like mint in box. And I had to be cruel to myself because I could easily have spent like £100,000 there and still not got everything that I fancied. It was an unreal cornucopia at Aladdin's Cave. Let's have a look. I'm missing out a lot of comments here. I'm trying to get up to date here. Gamehammer Classic Gaming, aka the Cupboard Monkey, says, I see Les is getting a word in edgeways this week. So can you actually read the comments?
Not very easily. I have to struggle to read. I can read them. Get the cuppa in, Zoe.
Oh, do you want a cup of tea or coffee?
I'll have a coffee, Zoe. But no, I mean, you've got the knowledge. I'm here when I'm asked questions. I'll try and answer them.
But certainly, if you need anything framing, and don't just think pictures and things like that, because you frame an awful lot of weird stuff, don't you?
Frame trains, frame model railways.
Yeah. In fact, if you pass over that box that's down, this is one of yours. You brought this round and left it with me. This is one of the things that that you have, isn't it? So this, you can see there, it's quite a deep box, and it's got a bit of muck stuck to it. I don't know what that is.
Off the floor.
But this, mount it on the wall, and then you put a train in. So you can pretty much frame anything you want. I've done clothes.
I recently
medals.
did a world heavyweight boxing belt.
Oh
I've
right, are they
done-
quite chunky then?
They're very big and chunky and huge.
So did the
frame.
guy leave it with you, or did you just make the frame?
No, he left it with me because we had to
Oh,
fix-
cool. You must have put it on.
No. It was. You couldn't bend it round you.
Really?
It was a huge thing, great big brass buckles and everything. I framed a RAF flying jacket.
Right.
I framed Paul Gascoigne's christening suit. The whole lot when he was a little
What,
boy.
for him?
Yeah, well, for somebody that bought it on a sports auction.
Oh right. I was
I've
just thinking it's a weird thing he'd be
framed, more than one football shirt in a frame. Which is quite difficult to do. And then I had a cheerleader from America, from the Great Britain cheerleading team.
Oh, right.
Framed her leotard and all the pom poms and everything that she
The
wore.
full cheerleading outfit.
Yeah, everything.
Oh,
Framed for royalty on 2 occasions. Things that have been
Excellent.
done for companies that have then been presented to Princess Anne and to the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge or York and that. So yeah, I enjoy the challenge of doing the weird and the wonderful. But I get lots of standard work in for framing, oil paintings, prints, photographs, and this, that, and the other. And so you've got some that I've given you on the wall here. To decorate the.
I daren't move the camera because I was so long trying to get it set up. But there's some of your pictures, the pictures that you frame and you do. But yeah, just give you a call because at the moment you've got like a clearance sale.
I've got a big clearance sale on due to the fact of retiring next year. So with about £50,000-60,000 worth of stock to try and sell off, liquidate or whatever, there are some good deals going on.
And if you turn up and say Jenny sent me,
I'll only charge you a penny more than anybody else.
yeah,
No.
yeah, he'll only knock off a £5 instead of
No.
the tenner.
There's a lot of things going for virtually cost price because, with so much stuff
Yeah.
and the state of the economy, I know a lot of things I won't be able to sell at the true value
You're
for
not
them.
supposed to tell people.
Well, no,
that.
I
You're
mean-
just
I
supposed
mean-
to say it's like we're just liquidating stock. I want to get, I want to.
Well, I do. I
Yeah,
do.
no, we don't tell them. Oh, it's a difficult. It's a buyer's market. Oh, I'll give you £5 take it off your hands. If you pay me, I'll take it away. Devans GWR. I've got the Ruston as my Crimbo Prezi. Oh right, yes. The 48DS. I'm looking forward to that as well. I've got one on order, but it's so far only the Works one has turned up, and the Works one's not the one I ordered.
Les was going to frame a heavyweight box.
Oh, Mad Bren says, give us contact details, Les. Have you got a pen handy? Have you? Right, go on, quick, give me the
Again,
number.
telephone number is Bolton 01204 397707. You can contact me at framearound@googlemail.com as well.
So yeah, give him a call, tell him I sent you, and he'll do you a nice price.
I will. I'm very fair with the prices.
I think I've missed a big chunk of the questions. So if anybody's in, I know like Ken Patterson. If you gave a reply to what I was saying, I've missed it. Do type it in again because I think I've missed it. Curtis Moore says I'll be popping in just before Christmas time. Then Les, whilst I'm in Bolton, I'd like the old DB branding stuff as a statement wall piece for the shed. Yeah, actually, I think it's sometimes in your railway room, it's quite nice to have some slightly unusual stuff on the wall.
Well, I've got loads I've saved up and framed up now.
You've got loads of pictures as
I've got
well. If you're looking
pictures.
for decent pictures for your railway room walls. Oh, go on, let's give it a whirl. I'll not move the legs, but over there you can see. Forget about the blur picture. That's my album cover. But some of these pictures here, you can see right over there, and there's some up there somewhere. Is there?
Up on that roof there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, up there. So they're ones which I got from Les. Right, I'm going to see if I can put this back now without getting the gangster lean going down. I don't know what the hell's just happened. Oh, there we are. Oh, wow.
That's probably the best it's been.
Yeah, we're glad we did that. You alright there, Zoe? What's up?
Just give me a minute.
Apparently we need to give the cupboard monkey a minute.
Talking about YouTube, a railway model gets on Strictly Come Dancing. How's your 2 left feet, Jenny and Les?
Well, if I got 2 left feet, I think he's got 2 right feet.
I can't dance for toffee.
Neither can I. You know what? It's like that line from Red Dwarf. It's like, Dude, I've seen people on fire move better than you. But how we do? Anyway, don't forget to tickle that like button, but mostly because it massages my ego, makes me feel liked. We've got a new all-time record, 153. 153.
Well, that's almost our combined ages.
Yeah, actually, it's great to have you all aboard.
You can't be 53.
There's 153 people watching, so it's
Thank you,
great to
Zoe.
have you all aboard. Aha! Merchandise has arrived with a cup of coffee in.
Yes.
Did you put the 2 sugars in? Just test it first.
Just the 1 sugar, sorry.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Perfect.
Show it to the camera. There we are. The Jenny Monday Club mug. Let's have a look. Evening from
Coffee
Peter
not
Lee,
included.
Ian Ryan. Evening to you. Tim's Train says, evening lesson, Jenny. When will we be able to see this top secret project? Will it be on TV?
It won't be on TV unless Crime Watch counts.
Oh, I'm absolutely full, but Les, do you want a piece of pizza?
Yeah, guys, the top secret project will not be on TV unless Crime Watch counts.
No, it's going to be, it's something for a manufacturer, so you will get to see it, but it's entirely up to them as to how it is used and how it goes out. There is some media surrounding it, and we kind of scored this gig off the back of Great Model Railway Challenge.
It's Jenny's new fashion channel. Rail body ready.
Yes. Well, it's actually
Bye.
Victoria's Secret has got Les in as one of their lingerie models.
Yeah, that's why it's a secret project.
Yeah, that's why it's secret, because you need the eye bleach otherwise.
Oh.
I can't imagine. I think the beard might not really work with.
It's funny, this beard is quite funny. I've had it, I think, about 4 years now. Went on holiday.
Did you have it on BLR?
No. I was starting to grow. Yes, I did. Sorry, I did. I got it then. It was the year before that we went on holiday, my wife and I went to France, and I went out to France without a beard. Didn't take my shaving kit with me or anything. And I said to my wife, done 2 weeks. I said to my wife, I'm going to grow a beard. She said, no, you're not. She said, I don't like you with a beard. Anyway, I got this designer stubble and everything, and it sort of quite grew on her in a way. But the funny thing was, when I came back through customs, they kept looking at my passport and looking at me. They didn't think.
I just haven't shaved for 2 weeks. Come on, stop behaving yourself.
No, but they were a bit. Are you sure it's you? Kind of thing.
Oh, let me check.
Yeah.
Yep, it's still me.
And now I'm not allowed to shave it off.
Swindon 1969 says, now that's an image I could have done without.
Just
don't buy that copy of Victoria's Secret. Warrington Train Spotter 2778. How shocked? Oh yeah, just come on. This computer really doesn't like me. No. Right. Brockwell Lane says, yeah, absolutely right. Sheffield must be the model train shop capital of the UK. We have Rails, Olivia's, Markway and Sheffield Transport models. And there used to be even more. Yeah, Sheffield has actually done remarkably well. I guess there used to be a model zone there as well, which is a franchise actually sadly missed. Stephen Thurkettle, evening all from Paderborn. New Junction. Jenny, now you've been on a few TV shows. Would you go in the jungle? Well, I think it's a bit like Biggest Little Railway. It's like, I don't really want to go camping. But I knew that if I didn't do it, I'd regret it. So yeah, if they asked me, I'd probably do it. It doesn't mean I'd enjoy doing it, but you'd have to do it, because if you didn't do it, you'd regret not doing it, if that makes sense.
I'm glad I did the Biggest Little Railway.
Yeah, I'm glad we did GMRC.
Well, we would never have met.
Yeah, that's it. Biggest Little Railway brought us together, even though we lived just down the road from each other. Gonk Droid 229, hi to you both, got a question. Did diesel locos pull single coach services during the 60s? I have a small layout that would only look realistic with single coach services. I already have a class 121. Conceivably, I guess they could have done. I don't know. But yeah, rule 1, run what you want.
Yes, it's your layout.
Actually, you could run it with somewhere over there. I've got one of the engineer's saloons. You could conceivably run pretty much any locomotive with an engineer's saloon.
So what does a bubble car pull?
itself.
Is it just like a rail car on its own?
They did have some trailer cars. There was 20 bubble cars and 9 trailer cars. So the trailer cars got mixed and matched between them. But generally speaking, I guess they ran on their own. They're for very lightly used lines.
Right. So basically like a rail car on its...
Yeah. Well, it is a rail car. Warrington Train Spotter 2778 says, when laying track down, do you have to put a cork track bed down? What's the difference if you do it without cork? A lot of people swear by cork. It gives sound deadening apparently, but I have never really found that to be a great effect. I never use it. I've never had any real ill effect. You've watched my videos. You know exactly what my trains going round actually sound like. But some people say it does improve things. Once the PVA glue soaks into it, it'll go pretty hard anyway.
Talking of sound and just going back to this Magna rail, I noticed how noisy that system is. Doesn't often make a clattering sound as it's going round.
It is noisy, yeah. I don't know how you can actually alleviate that. I just have a little look down through. Ham Shackleton says, haha. Andrew Cummins says hi. Mad Brand, oh, it's just jumped.
Thought of Les in Suspenders, was that?
Where? I don't know. Oh, in Suspenders.
Yeah.
What? Rock on, Tommy. Oh no, not that kind. Not that kind. I mean, a bit Rocky Horror, I think.
Oh, definitely.
Jamie Smith, laugh Mike off. I hear the Right Said Fred song. Are you going on the catwalk, Jennifer? I'm not allowed to say. I did do actually. You know,
you did do modelling, didn't you? Because you told me about it.
Yeah, I was a lingerie model for a very brief period, and it turned out to not be very glamorous. Don't let this saggy body fool you. I used to have the physique of a 20-year-old once upon a time. Yeah,
20 years ago.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. Yes, I have the body of a 16-year-old, and I don't really want to give it back, but they keep asking for it. But yeah, I briefly did lingerie modelling, and after one photo shoot on something like the 3rd of January,
that'll be chilly.
at a castle in North Wales, in sleet, basically told me that the money was not worth the suffering. And yeah, and before you ask, yes, there are photographs, and no, I'm not going to show you.
Why would they want you in the next to nothing, standing in the cold? You know, what's the logic of...
Why indeed? I don't know, maybe they thought it just looked good in the catalogue, but yeah, it was hard work. But yes, Greg Palmer, with so many great locos around that only the dedicated period model would resist something just a bit out of period hand or location. You should run an NTV loco on just about any layout. I think Rule 1 counts a lot. I mean, this whole layout around you is made up. It's not modelled on a real location. So if you're going to do that, if you're going to do that, why restrict yourself? It's just not worth it. Run whatever you want. That's what I do. Yeah. Tim's Trades, guys, I think it's time we set Jenny a crowdfunding page to buy Jenny a nice new PC for the Monday Club. That's very generous of you. But just remember, you can head on over to Patreon. There should be links somewhere from one of my videos. And you can subscribe to the channel. And actually, it reminds me, I'm planning next year, over the summer at some point, we're going to be doing the Jenny Monday Club Monday Night Garden Party Live. And we'll do a Jenny Monday Club from the garden with the O-Gauge model railway, hopefully running. We'll do a barbecue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be inviting a load of people around. But if you are the top tier Patreon, which off the top of my head is about $20 or $25 and up, then what we're going to do is we're going to send out the invites to them. So you could come down to Chez Jenny and hang out with the barbecue in the back garden and be a part of Monday Club.
But we're not paying your airfare if you're coming from America or Australia.
No, you have to make your own way here.
Good travel arrangements.
But certainly, I think that's something that we're looking at doing.
Yeah, good idea.
So do look out for that. But in the meantime, you can also get yourself onto Patreon, support the channel, help us to make the videos that you want to see. And that's a really good way of helping me to be able to keep making these videos and provide this content that you really love watching. And I do feel really honoured that people love to watch it. But yeah, go and check us out if you want. You can be a Patreon for as little as $1 a month, or I don't think there is an upper limit. You can, I mean, you could be really benevolent, and like, oh, $20,000, there you go, ka-ching. So you know, if the Rockefellers are watching, feel free.
Or Rod Stewart.
Oh, if Rod Stewart is, yeah. He might be watching going, shut off. Earn your own money, stupid woman. And call that a model railway. You see my model railway, it looks mint. I don't even know if he talks like that. Tim Strange, guys, I think it's... Oh, so I've just read that one. Digger Evans, better to regret things you've done than regret what you didn't do.
True.
That is exactly, and it's a sentiment which I've always had in my life, which is always take a chance and then you will never be sorry for what might have been.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can regret what you did, but you won't regret not having done it. And actually, regretting having done something is probably better than regretting not having done something.
Unless it's a murder.
And even then, it depends on who it is. So somebody calling out, 163. So we've got a lot of views on 163. This is a really good... I was wondering actually, so, Curio by Bespoke Designs keeps calling out the numbers. I hadn't realised that's what the numbers were. But yeah, tickle that like button, people, if you're in. Show that appreciation. And also share this too. Let's see if we can get it over 200 views.
That'd be good.
Well, 200 people viewing. Actually, it'll be about 1,000 views at the end. 163. It's always dropped now, 159. People go, well, if you're going to make a big thing about us watching, we're going to leave. Actually, interestingly, Brockwell Lane, yes, schools trains were sometimes a single coach behind a loco. So, there, generally speaking, is a prototype for everything, pretty much. And there's some weird things that I've seen where you look at it and you think, God, if I hadn't have seen that, I'd never have believed it.
Yeah. Well, I was looking on YouTube, and again, I've posted things on my Facebook group of some of the weird trains that there are out there. And it's incredible, you know, some of the places like in Australia where they put cars and wagons and lorries, ordinary old cars with railway wheels on to make them into trains. There's some incredible locomotives as such on there.
Oh, it's flicked off the top. Come on. There's a message from Cottesmore. I've missed it. Cottesmore asks, what time are you at Hatton's? I'll be popping over to get a new toy and meet Dave. Oh, are you doing some interviews? That'd be great to see. Actually, Dave is really great to talk to. I've done a few interviews with Dave, a few collaborations. But we're looking to get there sometime in the morning. I've got to hire a trailer because currently the War of the Worlds layout is in the warehouse at Hatton's. And what we're doing is we're looking to relocate that now into alternative storage. Hatton's very, very kindly gave us the space to store that straight after the filming of GMRC. But all good things come to an end, and it's taking up space that's commercial space for them in their warehouse. So I don't want the layout to overstay its welcome, so we are moving that back into actually my conservatory into storage. So what that means is on the channel you're going to be seeing some more video content. We're going to show you some real in-depth footage of that because we'll have the luxury of having it in our house and able to film at leisure. I might get a few trains going by videos on it as well. The more long-term aims for that, currently we have a couple of locations interested in housing it in the short to medium term. So we're currently looking into that, and it's also booked to appear at Alexandra Palace Model Railway Exhibition in, I think it's next March.
And then into Blackpool and Fylde. And
quite possibly Blackpool and Poulton the Fylde exhibition in September as well. Yes. So yeah, Cottesmore, we'll probably be at Hatton's from about 11:30 sometime around there. But we're going to be there for a few hours because we've got to break down the War of the Worlds layout and get it kind of MacGyvered into some kind of holding frame to get it into the trailer.
Maybe they can give you a helping hand.
Oh, do you want to come?
I can't, unfortunately, tomorrow.
Oh, right, yeah, that's fair enough. So, yeah, Dave, if you want to, you're more than welcome to give us a lift. With the boards, obviously we're turning up with the trailer. I like. Oh, was it? Yeah, I like transport. Says Cottesmore. Spoilers, please. Oh yes. Dum, dum, ba-dum. Yeah, that's it. It's like Cottesmore. You don't like. Les, I love you to bits, but don't spill the beans.
I shan't say anything.
So Cottesmore is. Actually, I mean, I look forward to it, actually. I presume you might be doing an interview about Project Genesis, perhaps. I've already done an interview actually with Dave about that. It's a really great project. But there's also the Class 66s. Actually, I think it's more your kind of bag. So I'd be interested to see actually if you're doing a video and interview about the Class 66s. Do let me know. And I look forward to seeing that. Warrington Train Spotter 2778. Do you have an A3 steam loco on your layout, Jenny, but not the Scotsman? Don't have the Scotsman, and I actually don't have any A3s either. It's one of the classes of locomotives I just never got around to getting. Don Cragen, do you make anything appreciable from selling mugs or t-shirts? No, because none of you buggers buy them. Actually, no, some of you do. Don Cragen, the mugs t-shirt, otherwise. I like transport. Cottesmore, is your running session the one you're editing tomorrow? Blind Paul, I use Woodland Scenics trackpad. Actually, we used that on GMRC
we did that
when we did the Dr. Evil layout. It's slowly moving around there. There we go.
That was that black sort of...
It's like a dense foam.
Yeah.
And you can bend it. You've got to be very careful. And we had to pin it whilst the glue was drying. Was the best way that we found with that. But actually, it worked quite well.
It did, yes, yeah.
It did. Berry 120. Hello, joining a bit late today, I'm afraid. Don't worry. You're not late. Don't worry about it. Drop in and out whenever you want. Don't worry about it. It's grand. Yeah, Gary Cox, model a heritage railway, then you just model whatever you want.
Yes.
J. Paul Anderson, and London and South Western Railway or Southern Railway H16 would be wonderful. Actually, there's still quite a big pool of locomotives that have not yet been modelled. We've just had the Kerosene Castle, number 18,000, announced from Rails as Sheffield. I think they're looking to get that out by Christmas next year, so just under a year. I think is their time frame to actually get it out. They've already done a lot of the work on it. So a lot of these obscure locos are starting to reach the market. And there are a lot of the more pre-grouping designs that I'm really, really looking forward to as well. Paul says, hi Jenny. Paul from Sydney, Australia. Do you have a drawn track plan of your layout? I love working out dimensions and what you can build in normal sized rooms. Unfortunately, no. I never draw out my track plans before I build.
All up here.
It's all up in my head. It's just the way I work. I've tried drawing out my track plans, but I'll be perfectly honest with you, I just can't do it. I really, it's one of those things I just can't do. Curio by Bespoke Designs. Ooh, can I come to the garden party? Well, if you're a top tier Patreon, then yes, you will get an invite. It's just simply a case of, watch this space. We've just started mooting this today, so I haven't worked out the details or even a date, but it'll be Jenny Monday Club live from the garden, the O-Gauge Garden Railway, which I have shown in a series of videos, just not particularly running. And it'll be fun. I'll have a barbie.
Yes.
Yeah, you do.
I shall come, yes. Yeah.
And
bring your umbrellas, just in case. You
Well,
know what our weather's like?
Yeah. See, does it suddenly feel it's gone a bit chilly? Is it like a little chill?
I hadn't really noticed.
Yeah. Zoe, are you stocking up the part fire? Oh, that's okay then. I think it might be getting quite cold outside. Richie Download Festival Goer question, guys. Why do steam rail tours all have modern diesels behind it? I think it's insurance. In case of breakdowns, they need a second locomotive. It's not economical for it to be a steam locomotive. So basically, it's essentially a case that they tend to run their diesel on. Also, you may find that the diesel is running the electric train heat. So somebody's complaining that we haven't got any trains running. So loco 2600, boom, boom, bish, bash,
One was running over
bosh.
there. Is that it over there? Oh, no. Oh. It's going a different way
Every
around.
time I run a locomotive, Les looks at it and goes, oh, could you get me one of those? Now this Les is a Helgen Class 5 diesel shunter. And look how smooth it is running.
Yes.
It's a lovely smooth locomotive, really is.
No, you're going to get me one of those, so I'll have to wait. And then I've
Yeah,
still got,
he wants one of these.
well, that, and then I've just ordered.
Oh, you want the bubble
I
car?
want the bubble car. I'll give you some money for that.
You need 100 quid plus whatever the chip
Chip
costs.
is, yeah, I can sort that out with.
Any particular livery? Do you want the blue one like that, or do you want like regional railways, Network Southeast?
No, I'll go for either that, or if they've got the green one. But that's
I'll have a
fine.
look for the
That's
green
fine.
one.
No, because another loco I've got. This time I've bought it off eBay. Is the
Oh, Cadley Hill number 1.
Cadley Hill number 1. Basically because Cadley Hill is a pit that my dad and my granddad used to work at way back in the 1940s,
Basically,
50s,
this
60s.
locomotive, he's just bought one of these.
So Jen's going to chip it for me because it's only DC.
Yeah, we have to hardwire it. For them.
Hardwire that. So I hope she might actually do an on-air kind of video of it, or a YouTube video of it, because one or two people had asked me about it. So it's up to the lady here if she can, because I know it's not going to be an easy one.
I'm going to have to MacGyver it in, but I think it's doable. There is some space in there. Mad Brown says, Jenny, just a thought from you. Would you think DC be better for an Inglenook or DCC? Whichever's your poison. Grove Street Yard, which is my exhibition layout, which is the one you see in the Stevenson Group Model Row exhibition in Rainhill video. I was running that on DC, but in the past I've run it on DCC as well. It works perfectly well on either. In all honesty, for a small one engine and steam type layout, DC works just fine, but you know, whatever's your preference. Otis JB says, Jenny, I've just remembered there's a huge backman sale at Rails, including many resin Scenecraft low relief buildings at less than half price for your back scene. I know, but actually it's probably too thin just across there. In fact, it's certainly too thin for low relief buildings. In fact, I wanted to ask you about doing as kind of a back scene. I want a suggestion of a town going back that can just kind of just go in across there, but like muted into the distance, almost like a
Painted directly onto there, or onto
probably at best onto a piece of thin card or something, and then I'll glue it on. But then over there, it would probably have to be done on paper or something. Just a suggestion of like hills receding into the distance.
that.
Or you could just paint straight
onto that.
Okay,
for
yeah,
you.
yeah, that would.
That, because of leaning over, would be difficult, but
And also because there's a join which I'd
Yeah.
hide. I was thinking maybe just like a sheet and just, and if you're able to kind of, maybe we can cut out stuff so that it.
I could do something for you for there, certainly.
That would be great because they're not up against the wall. Sorry, I'm just talking shop here. You can't actually see. We're talking about there's some. Let's see if I can turn that round. We're talking about this set of wall over here, and basically there's a little bit of a gap I've left behind, so you can slide something slightly behind.
I could do it on some mount card if I knew what sort of length.
I'll have to measure
Do
that.
some measurements, or we can do that next time. But that's straightforward with a paintbrush.
Yeah.
I just.
Yeah, essentially what I want is like a muted into the distance countryside, like Cumbrian type hills, to match a little bit what you're seeing going on.
So you've got the rocks.
Yeah.
I could sort something out.
Like
for
slightly
you.
craggy, but you know, going back, you see
Yeah.
like a suggestion of peaks in the distance.
Yeah.
It might be quite nice. Yeah, maybe
Yes, it would.
Helvellyn or something. Yeah, it'd be quite nice. Let's have a look.
When we've got this secret finished.
Let's have a look. Oh gosh, Les is sliding out of frame again. Somebody's just said. I think there's a power cable attached to the phone, and it kind of puts enough of a drag that it slowly spins it in the gimbal. It's most annoying. But Gamehammer Classic Gaming says the spanner means you have moderator abilities. Yeah, I made a few people, some of the regulars, the people who are always in the live stream. I made them moderators because it just made sense to be able to deal with any trouble. Blind Paul says, seen your running session vid and loved it. Weir Yard has come a long way quickly. Yeah, would you believe it? This time last year, this was an empty loft.
Yes.
It was
empty.
Honestly, it was completely empty to the point where it wasn't even lined. There wasn't even a room up here.
No.
It was just simply the underside of the slates. And anybody who's been in the loft space of a really old house, and this house was built in, I think it's 1927, you'll know that you've got the wooden framework, but then the slates are nailed to the wooden framework, and there's nothing underneath. There's no roofing felt, there's nothing. And if you peer underneath the slates, you can look out through the little chinks in between, and when it's windy outside,
You can feel the
it was
wind.
actually windy in here. It would like blow a gale through the roof. So the whole room's been lined with a whole load of different insulation. It's been boarded out. Floor's been reinforced. We've got electricity. We've got Ethernet up here from the internet. Well, from the what's the word on it? The local area network in the house. We've got a LAN. So there's Ethernet up here. We've got full lights going on. So it really has come along. We've even got carpet down. We've made ourselves at home. So yeah, in under a year. In fact, we're probably only at the 8 or 9 month mark since I even started the room conversion. Gary Coxon, now there ain't enough room to swing a cat. Tim's Train says, Jenny, how about a crowdfunding page to buy a new PC? I'd feel a little bit nervous about doing that because I can probably afford to buy my own computer. It's just I choose not to because I'm a bit of a techno Luddite. I'd feel very humbled if somebody just went, oh, for God's sake, and just went on Patreon and signed up as like a $1,000 Patreon and with just a note saying, just buy yourself a damn computer. I would feel really humbled, actually. I don't. Please don't do that. You can if you really want to, but I'm really not asking you to. That would I'd feel a little bit embarrassed. So look, don't worry about that. I kind of manage. It's a 15-year-old computer and it chugs on and it chugs a lot. But hey,
I do like that little engine as well.
a Class 5 diesel shunter. It's a Helgen model, and I love it. It's actually I rank it as being one of the smoothest running locomotives on the market. I actually used it to test track work because it is such a smooth runner, and essentially it's the benchmark locomotive. If all the other locomotives, I try and get them to run as well as that, and it really is nice. They did have them on offer comparatively recently at about half price, but I don't know whether they still do. I don't know if anybody can look up what are the Helgen Class 5 diesel shunters going for at Hatton's, because he'll undoubtedly burden me with a huge wedge of cash tomorrow. So Hatton's, if you're watching, it's encouraging. They're like, oh yes, oh yes.
Oh dear. Must stop robbing banks.
Flymo Chairman 1, I wondered if the lot flare was keeping the heat throughout the house in a bit better. I suppose it'll tell when the bill's in the spring. Actually, yes, the insulation up here has improved the house down below. Would you believe it? We still have not used our central heating. We've got a log burning stove and we've used that, but we have not needed to use the actual gas central heating. And this is the first time ever in living here that we've got into November and not had to use the central heating.
But we nearly had to take Jenny to the hospital because she was chopping the wood this afternoon, and she turned a funny colour, didn't you?
Overexerted myself.
Yes.
Grey Knight 1971 says, what's best for a garden railway, DC or DCC? I think either. In all honesty with you, there's pros and cons to both. There's no hard and fast rule on that. Berry 120 says, Berry 120, you're looking at the O gauge ones. Yeah, as Brockwell Lane says, that's O gauge. Looking for the 00 ones. I do like the O gauge ones, and I believe that Rails of Sheffield have some of the O gauge ones at a really, really good price. And I really do fancy one for the garden railway, but money is getting tight in the run up to Christmas. But yeah, there was the period when they had them at pretty much half price, but that was probably about a year ago now. So Coddismore says, right, Jenny, Les and Co, I'm off. Early start tomorrow. Have a good evening. Certainly,
Take
you
care,
take
yeah.
care. And also, I presume we may see you at Hatton's tomorrow. We may be sort of hidden
Not
away.
me,
Well,
Jenny.
yeah, me and Zoe. We may be hidden in the warehouse. If you just ask at the counter or ask Dave, say, is Jenny here? And come and say hello. It'll be grand. We'll show you the War of the Worlds layout, and you can get some footage if you like. So good night to you.
Good night.
Yeah, all depends on time. We're probably going to be getting there sort of
11:30, did you say?
11:30, I guess, once we've done sorted out getting the trailer hired, drive over to Hatton's, and then it's nose to the grindstone to get everything in, transported back, unloaded, and then we've got to get the trailer back, otherwise I get charged a second day's hire. Leslie Gilpin, yeah, absolutely right. For Garden Railway, you can also use radio control. I think a lot of LGB locomotives go down that road. Yeah, Ham Shackleton says you can do that with 00 as well. Hunts Heath Model Railway, Hatton's tomorrow, might need a new loco or two. Gosh, we're going to be having a little impromptu Jenny Monday Club meetup at Hatton's. So yeah, if you're going to Hatton's tomorrow, just if you don't see me there immediately, just say to them, say, oh, is Jenny Kirk here? And then maybe they'll let you come and say hello. Are you having some pizza?
No. My bum's gone numb again.
He's got a numb bum. Does that, yeah. Actually, so that'd be nice if you could paint over there, because at the moment,
Well, yeah.
that blue is kind of...
You want it more washed out, more fading into the distance.
Yes,
Some
yeah.
low hills, yeah, and carry
Yeah.
on the rocks and the
A
crags.
little bit of rock. So think about sort of like Cumbrian fells, but not like the really mountainous
No,
stuff.
no.
But, you know, like Cumbria. Think
Yeah.
Lake District.
Yeah.
FN47XX says, hello Jenny, hello to you. Hermitage Road says, hi Jenny and Les, hope you're well. Hi to you.
Yes.
Berry120, I've been experimenting with 00 and Zigbee recently, which is unconventional radio control. Good fun, not much in the market with that though. Raphael Eric says, hi Les and Jenny, hi
Hi.
to you. And I'm very conscious that I've been like
All right. Well,
gathering away, so do feel free to jump in.
I will when there's
I've got
something.
Les as the special guest here, and I've not let him say much.
Well, my knowledge, as you know, is much more limited, so I can only talk about certain things when I'm asked or things that I suddenly think about.
Yeah, actually, I'm looking there. Flymo Chairman 1, that's a blooming good idea. Jenny, you should just happen to have some books with you tomorrow by the sound of things. Yes, that's right, everybody. My books are still available, and here is one of them. I've written about 13, 14, maybe, something like that. So I'll try and remember to dump a few in the cars. To you guys, £5 a book. Can't say fairer than that. I've got a big box under my bed, you see, so...
But
yeah.
don't get it to sign them because they'll be worth less, as we've gone through that story.
I once found one of my books in a charity shop, and there was a part of me that was really thrilled that I just randomly found my book in a charity shop, and there's another part of me thinking, oh, and then when I opened it, it was a signed one as well, and it was like to Bob, kind regards, Jenny Kirk, and I was looking at it and just thinking, oh, who was Bob? But yeah, don't forget you can buy my books as well through allmousemedia.com. Head on over there. They're actually quite a reasonable price. You can find them on Amazon Marketplace. But don't pay over the odds. And yeah, what have we got? A New Mills Model Railway. Talking about books is making me think about starting a novel. Write a lot of screenplays and film them when I can, but a nice novel would make a change. Well, you could always do a novelisation of one of your screenplays. I've done that in the past. I wrote a 6-part sitcom for the BBC, which they ended up not optioning, and I later on turned that up into a book. So effectively, I novelised a 6-part comedy series, and I actually used in it some of the ideas which I'd not quite got into the 6-part series, which were kind of, well, if it is that, oh, it's doing all right. Which if they had commissioned that and then commissioned a series 2, there were ideas for those, so it all got novelised. Berry120, just curious, is there any footage of the Garden Railway on YouTube? The old one, yes, loads of footage. The new one, there is footage of me building it, and there is footage of the test train going around, which was a Daypol pannier, and there's footage showing that going around the full layout.
Can I ask a question relating to YouTube? Why is it when you're trying to watch not just yours but anybody's YouTube channels, and they're doing a particular subject, and there's part 1, part 2, part 20, part 30 and so on, why do they never seem to follow suit with each other? One will finish and it just goes on to something totally
That's
different.
YouTube's algorithm. And quite often you end up have to really search to try and find the part you're missing. Right, I've got to try and remember which number this is. Does it actually have a number on it? Somebody said 6. I don't know why I'm thinking 6.
Did you weather the little wagon, or is that...
No, that's factory weathered. That was
nice,
an
that.
Invicta model special commission. It was a set of 3. Right, let's just see. Is this Loco 6? Is this... Oh, it is number 6. Oh, well remembered by me. Just changing the loco, just mixing things up. And this is the one that you really want. So you can see it running there. And that's the Hornby B2 packet. Which is probably needing a little bit of a run to clean the wheels. It'll pick up. God, let's talk to the people. Talk to the nice people.
Why is it not working? Does it need a bit more speed?
Possibly. Let's see how it does. Once it's been round a couple of times, it's just momentarily losing power. Usually that's dirty wheels. So once it's been round a couple of times, it shines up the wheels and the pickups, and it might be all right. Anyway, let's leave that be.
Good.
Raphael, Eric, is it a book or a classic? Is it a classic book of your themed layouts, War of the World? No, this Bringing Home the Stars, it's science fiction horror. It's actually...
It's a bit like Great Model Railway Challenge.
No, think of like Aliens, but Aliens crossed with ghost ships, something like that. But it's a really great book. Even people who are not normally into science fiction love this book, and its sequel, Twinkle Little Star. And they're available at the moment. I think both books are available for a tenner, direct from All Mouse Media. So if you go and check them out, that is annoying, isn't it, when it does that? Yeah, DT Head says RC is great until you have to wait to recharge it. Swindon 1969. Oops, Cat just changed the view. He likes to sit on the keyboard. Oh, thank you, Zoe, aka Gamerhammer Classic Gaming. She's found the footage, so yeah. Berry 120 says, actually, it's a good point. I'm seeing more and more people do like hour-long partless videos, and it's one of the things I'm planning on doing. Some of the series that I've done in the past, like how to build a small shunting layout, we're looking at reissuing that, edited together into one big video, just for ease of people finding it. So we're going to have a kind of a rejigging of some older footage just to make it more accessible. I think we might need to clean that bit of track. Sorry, it's
just round about there.
Yeah. Let's see if that does any better. Jamie Smith says we need the cupboard monkey. The cupboard Gamehammer Classic Gaming is the cupboard monkey. That is Zoe. Raphael, did the judges make your current layout harder? And I think the judges, I don't think they made the job harder of making the models. They just kind of were an annoyance when they just didn't get what we were doing, and yeah.
Or when they fabricated things that we were doing to create problems that weren't there in the first place. I think you've solved it, Jen.
Yeah. Brockwell Lane, Aliens, my favourite movie of all time. In that case, you will love Bringing Home the Stars and Twinkle Little Star. So they make great Christmas gifts as well. If you've got a table with a wobbly leg, you may even find that they're the right thickness to go underneath. J. Paul Anderson, Jenny, what is your favourite Steam era layout? From other people, Iron Mould Lane is one which has always been a great inspiration to me. I think it may even still be doing the rounds. It certainly featured in Railway Modeller way back in 2001, I think it was. What brand is the wine? Somebody asked. Signal Post. I do like, is that, Southeastern Australian. I do like a good Australian wine. And I tell you what, don't tell French people, but Australians make better wine than the French.
Yeah, they do.
They've schooled the French. French wine always tastes watered down, unless you get a good one. But more often than not, they taste watered down. But yeah, Aliens. I like it as well, actually. Basically, the story behind this is I watched so many horror films and I thought, oh, why have they done? Oh no, that's just such a cliche. And this was my attempt to put my money where my mouth is and write the perfect horror novel. And I think I managed it. Oh, my head is swelling. My ego is like. But let's have a look. Leslie Gilpin says, we'll be drinking Canadian wine at the weekend. Never tried Canadian wine. Raphael Eric says, I heard that Simon made tension on the final. Oh, I think we can answer this. No, Simon didn't. Simon is a perfect gentleman. His comments were taken out of context. There was a bit of naughty editing there from behalf of KBG. The person who caused all of the trouble, who made threats to the camera crew, who made threats to team members,
to me.
Threats of physical violence, acted like a child, belittled people, gaslit people, talked down to people, generally caused a nuisance and wasted our modelling resources, and just generally worked against us. Was Brian, and I don't know why he did that.
In the last episode, not sour grapes in any way, but there was only 4 of us who were actually working on building the final layout because he hijacked one of the other team members and made it very difficult for her to complete her work properly.
Yeah.
So, because of all the problems he'd caused earlier on, he got sort of sidelined and everything, but it meant that we were 2 people down trying to build a layout that normally 6 people struggled to build. So
yeah, we did all right, and Steve Flint noticed that. The production team actually gave Brian a final warning and said that if he didn't pull his act together, that they would actually remove him from the set.
Walked off and didn't do anything.
He threatened to smash a cameraman's lens. When he was like effing and jeffing, foul language, and just generally unpleasant to people. And I really don't know why he went like that, because why? It was a TV program. I really don't know, but that's what happened. But Brian largely got edited out, so there we go.
Simon, real decent guy.
Yeah. Oh, it came off the track. I grow bored of this. I'm going to talk to the people. Oh,
what
that
have you done?
blooming
The
figure.
little man's dropped out. Has he committed Harry Carey?
My little man's fallen out. Go and talk to the nice people.
Hello, nice people. What shall I talk about?
Model trains. It normally goes down well on this channel.
Right, so going back to the little Cadley Hill train, I bought mine off eBay. I saw it started off at £15, and I thought,
never finish at what they start at, do
I
they?
ended up paying £42 plus a bit of carriage, which again is not that bad. But then there was another one I noticed that was starting off at £11.50. I think that's already up to £40 already, because once somebody finds out about a certain engine, it just seems to go up and up and up. But I went slightly over my budget, but only by about a tenner. But because it has kind of sentimental value to me, that's why I wanted that engine. If Jen gets it to run for me on DCC, that's great. If not, if there is a problem, then I'll just build a bit of a coal mine section with DC. But the funny thing was that somebody, and I forgot the gentleman's name now, made contact with me on Messenger, and it turns out that he knew Cadley Hill and everything. He also went to Ashby Grammar School like myself, and is a member of the Donisthorpe Model Railway Club, and has asked me if I'd like to join that, and when am I moving to that neck of the woods. Well, I don't know when that's going to be. Probably going to be 12 to 18 months, maybe 2 years, but not guaranteed that's exactly where we're going. I am looking with my wife probably in the Derbyshire area, round about Melbourne, Burton, Repton, Ashby, that kind of area, so we'll have to wait and see where we actually end up. But all being well, the sale of my gallery is going through, and next year, the end of next year, I will finish being a picture framer as frame around. I'm going to try and sell the business next year if I possibly can, but it may not happen. However, during that time I'm still in the process of bringing all the boxes of model railway stuff home and trying to make things and some dioramas at home. But you know, this is one of the reasons why I like coming to Jenny's, because this is my way of seeing trains working, because my own layout I can't
I keep
do
saying to you should bring some of your toys
I will,
round
I
and we'll
will.
play in here.
I'll bring some my Flying Scotsman with the smoke and the...
Actually, I'd love to see them
Yeah.
with the smoke
Yeah.
and the lights. I would be very interested
Right.
to see them.
Let's, if I'm coming next Monday... Oh, I can't next Monday. I'm down in Malvern or Nottingham with my daughter, so it'll be probably 2 weeks before I can come again, if you'll have me again.
No, it's always a pleasure to have you in there.
Even though I don't say much.
I'll just let you have a speak whilst I'm trying to get the one that's going round is actually one of the other locomotives. I'd like to claim credit for helping to sell out. It was a question
All right.
earlier on, back at the beginning of the live stream. Have my reviews ever got seen a massive increase in sales? The CPC United Kingdom liveried Andrew Barclay is another one I bought with my own money, did a review on it, the review did really well, and happens have sold out of that particular livery. So that is the model.
I can't ask you to get me one of them then.
No, you can't. They're sold out. They're completely gone, and mine is not for sale. It's actually part of the core fleet for my Grove Street Yard exhibition layout, because CPC is what's now Cerestar on Trafford Park and was rail connected, and that was the resident shunter through until I believe the late 1970s. Barnabas Joseph says, "Good evening, Jenny, Zoe and Les. Sorry I'm late joining the party. Not had a chance to watch until now. Please may I recommend reviewing your chat moderators, as it seems one is abusing his position." Ooh. Who? I'm just looking back. Yeah, Simon. Yeah.
Anyway, while Jenny's looking at that, you've probably all seen the Railway Modeller magazine about Rod Stewart, but did you know it's not because of Rod Stewart that it's selling so well, this magazine? It's because of this article here on how we made the train on fire. So I'm very honoured to share the same magazine as my old pal Rodders. I can't sing as well as he can. I don't think I can build model railways quite as well as he can.
It is an
it's
impressive
absolutely
model railway.
fantastic.
I recognise some of the kits. That's the Walther's Blast
Walther's
Furnace kit.
Look at this roundhouse.
That is nice, and I love the weathering and the background as well. I like the way, I think he's used flats for the background, so you've got this sense of distance. But yeah, I mean, it really is.
And apparently he would be doing some of the models while he was on his tours.
Yeah, yeah.
Hire a separate room in his hotel.
Yeah, I mean, look at these skyscrapers. That is very impressive. Really impressive.
And a good 90% of it was built by himself. He said he's not very good at the electrics.
As a lot of
but
people struggle with the electrics.
But it is fantastic.
I'm trying to get back down to the bottom.
So I shall be doing like I did with one of the other magazines recently. I shall be framing that with my page at the side of it. So these are some of the artifacts that will be going on my railway wall eventually. I've got the newspaper spread that Bolton Evening News did when Not Lobia first hit the stage. That's a huge framed picture with about 7 or 8 newspaper cuttings in it. Then there was the review that the Swedish magazine, you'll have to tell them the name because I can never say it. Jenny, the name of the Swedish magazine?
I need a run-up. Hurdy-gurdy, 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 hurdy-gurdy. No, actually, Modigliana Schwags Magazinett.
Well, they did a write-up of Not Lobia in Swedish. I'm still waiting for Stefan to send me the English interpretation of it.
Oh, did he not email it to you?
No, not the English interpretation.
Surely it was the words that you sent him. So
Probably.
You've got a copy.
I've got a copy somewhere, but I
So
can't
what
remember.
did you write it on?
I just sent him text, a messenger. Not
So you
messenger,
just wrote
email.
out like a big email?
Yeah, and sent him loads of photographs and everything.
Right. And the white drawers over there, the bottom two are full of magazines, and we can probably find that article. Because I think all my copies of Modigliana Schwags Magazinett are actually in there.
That one. So that's framed up. And then the recent railway challenge, and I also did the one of the great model railway, the biggest little railway in the world. And in that, I've actually framed, I think there's about 40 photographs, plus the brass plaque that I had done, and the sections of track. So that's going to go on the wall as well. And at the moment, my wife's let me bring everything home to put in the dining room, but I haven't literally put these on the wall yet. I think it would literally fill all of the wall space up. And then I've got a number of railway images I want to put up on the wall as well.
What's Avi's channel? I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with Avi. Aves. He appeared in Model Railroader magazine about 10 years ago. Avi, or was he engineering again? And J. Paul Anderson says Model Jan Fags Magazinett. Yeah.
Yes.
Flymo Champ, yeah, is a love him or hate him type character. I really enjoy his videos, but I think every single one is demonetized because of bad language. Yeah, we do try and keep away from the bad language here. A few naughty potty words might slip through because this is the thing as well. There's something about being recognised a lot, and I started to get a degree of fame from my book writing. Buy my book. Because I used to do book signing tours, so some people did recognise me from that. Not a huge amount, but certainly when the TV came up, I kind of had to rein in my potty mouth. Because what you guys don't see is that I can be quite foul-mouthed, and you have to be really careful because you can become ever so potty-mouthed and kind of not even realise you're doing it. And essentially, I have to really rein that in when I'm around people because I'm aware that having been a person in the public light, people watch YouTube videos, people build up this kind of what they expect you to be. Yeah, they have in their head this persona that you are that isn't necessarily what you really like, but you have to play to your kind of public persona. And sometimes it shocks Zoe when she's in the car with me just how potty-mouthed I actually am.
With road rage and things like that. Oh.
I just chunter. I don't like shout my head off, but I call people the most horrendously rude names and make such sarcastic comments. But I'm not one of these people like winds the window now. Oh, did you buy your license? How do you drive when you're blind? And all this sort of stuff out there.
I've tried. I mean, I know I've slipped out a few odd words, but I'm generally...
Yeah, like Hornby.
That's not
blowing the gaff. Blowing the gaff.
But I'm not generally a foul-mouthed sort of person. I can swear. And
yeah, it's alright. We don't need you to show.
I tend to do it at work when I'm on my own. Because sometimes.
Yeah. That's the danger. You start doing a lot of swearing when you're on your own and it becomes second nature. And then when you meet company, people look at you and go, oh, steady on. There's everybody staring at you and you're looking back and going, oh, did I? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought the little voice in my head was coming through my mouth by mistake. More tea, Vicar.
I know I got bleeped on Biggest Little Railway.
Did you? What did you?
Don't. No, I won't say it. But then, Dick Strawbridge was effing and jeffing as well. But,
oh man, he's got a potty mouth.
But it was done in a humorous way. It wasn't said in a vulgar way. The camera had come round to me, and we were all absolutely tired, on our last knees. We were cold, we were hungry, and we were wet through. And I happened to say that, and I got a smirk across my face as I said it. I didn't know I was being filmed at the time, and when it came to be shown, it just gets quite amusingly beeped. But you can just see me grinning as I've said it. But yes, I was cold and wet through.
Well, see, Dick Strawbridge, obviously, you know, he was in the army. He got very high up in the army, so he knows a few naughty words or two.
Yeah.
And when we'd film stuff, they didn't actually use any of the leaders' briefings, but every day they'd have this briefing and they'd have a debriefing in this tent. Do you remember that tent?
Oh,
And we
yeah.
wondered what the hell was that for.
We used to get our binoculars out and see what was going on.
Well, they'd have a debrief session sat in chairs in there and film like it was a little studio, and they didn't use any of that footage. But they also every morning had the leaders' briefing sessions, and they didn't use any of that either. And in that, they'd do things like they'd be filming us close to, and they get all the face shots and reaction shots, and they were recording the sound. So we'd run through that, and then the director would be like, okay, crew out, we're going for the long shots, now positions everybody. And then what we'd have to do is do the same
Trying to
routine
remember where
again,
you was.
but it would look like we were just on our own in a field, because they pulled all the cameras back and we're just getting these long shots. But they weren't recording the sound, so as long as it looked like you were talking, that was fine, because they were using the sound they'd already recorded. And basically Dick Strawbridge would try and make us all burst out laughing by using the most blue, dodgy language you can imagine. Yeah, all very tongue-in-cheek. He'd do it with a little sly grin on his face, because he knew exactly that he was trying to get everybody to corpse.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great bloke. I got on really well with him.
It's a great character.
Yeah.
You know.
And it was really amusing actually to get a lift from him in we called it the Dickmobile. There was they had like a pickup truck that the TV company must have let him use, and I can remember him giving me a lift in that, and all I could think was, I'm in a car with Dick Strawbridge. Cool. And he was like steering with his knees, no seatbelt on, he's like, and it was like, total dad driving. It was like one step away from going, right, come on kids, get your heads down, I'm doing some reversing. you know that thing where they put arm across, look round, kids down, I'm reversing. Rear view mirrors, that's for losers. Oh dear. Berry 120 says, I think we need an 18 plus uncensored live stream once just for the giggles. Yes. Jenny live and unplugged. Okay, let's plug her back in now.
Richie, download something or other. Les, what inspired you to get into model railway and why?
Well,
we have discussed this once
we've
before,
discussed
but
this,
obviously
I think, every time you're on. But actually, could you pass me a beer? Is there one left?
there's two left. Yeah.
It's cold.
I'm 64 now. I got back.
You don't look it.
I got back into railway modelling when I was 50, but I used to do model trains as a little boy, long time ago, back into the 1960s. And to cut a long story short, spent most of my childhood up till about the age of 14, 15, playing with my mates. We played with scale electrics, with trying Hornby trains, action men, Cindy dolls even. We did go-karting, climb trees, all the real proper play of those kind of days. None of this computer malarkey that's around nowadays. Anyway, by the age of about 14, 15, it got packed away because I'd gone to secondary school and then on to grammar school to do O-levels and A-levels and everything else. Life got in the way until I was 50, basically getting married, getting a job, ending up working for myself, having two gorgeous children that have grown up to give me grandchildren, or one of them has. And then for my 50th birthday, the family decided, well, you buy something that's either an event or something special or different when you get these big O birthdays. So they bought me a flying lesson because I'd always wanted to go flying, and I'd never been in an aeroplane, quite honestly, until that time. And the other surprise was this train set. And literally, as soon as that was given to me, it was, light switch back on in my head, and I was back to being a child again. So really, my railway modelling started again when I was 50. But I didn't have the knowledge that I have now, didn't have computer, didn't have a mobile phone or anything like that that would give me the information I needed. So I relied basically on my previous very little knowledge of what I'd had as a child. So that's one of the reasons why I started by just buying set track, the Hornby trying Hornby track. But gradually over the years I learnt more about other things, made a ton of mistakes. It was really, I did the classic. I had a building that I could put the model railway in. There was a huge space and I jumped in like jumping into the swimming baths at the deep end. I could swim, but there was a lot of water to swim through to try and get this model railway up and running, and it was taking its time. 13 years I was getting there, I was getting improving things, I was altering things, I was developing my skills. I got lots of ideas in my head, but I'd also come to a kind of impasse in that there was things I wanted to do with Not Lobia that meant really Not Lobia in one way or the other couldn't carry on as it was. One of the main issues was to change from DC to DCC, and the other issue was to try and make it more accessible downstairs, because I'd literally filled 600 square feet all the way around and the middle.
I mean, it was huge.
It was huge, and the only way
somebody
you
just
could...
asked actually, what era did you model, or was...
I haven't modelled on any particular era per se. Generally speaking, I would say it's from the 1950s to the 1980s. Certainly with all the cars and vehicles I've got, I've only got old-fashioned cars up to about the 1980s, but I'm not interested myself in a particular period of time. I just like trains, whether they are from the LNER, LMS, Southern, you know, Cambrian, or whatever. But it's building a fictional world, a bit like Thomas the Tank Engine lives in Sodor. Not Lobia is the equivalent for that. So I don't have to worry about any of the kind of rules and set things that many railway modelers always adhere to, because I can say, well look, it's my railway, rule number one, I'll make and run what I want. Yes, I listen to what other people say, I want to learn from what other people have done, I want to learn their skills and their techniques and their knowledge, but it's not what I particularly have to follow to the rule to create the model railway that I want. So I brought in the trains that I remember having as a child. You know, I've mentioned this before, some of the classics like the Flying Scotsman, the Mallard, and then I like trains that have character about them. That's why, you know, I quite like this bubble car and these little diesels. I've got now probably 20-ish DCC,
something like that. I know I've done a few. In fact, what I was just going to say, this one going round, you sold one of those because you didn't think you could DCC
I know, I'm going to have to probably get that back. But the one I sold, I was donated to. It was donated to me. I've had a lot of customers who've come to me that have seen the model railway, and also I've done deals with customers. I've bought their stock in exchange for doing framing. So I increased my range of model trains and engines to something like about 60 locomotives at one time. Now, I couldn't convert all of those to DCC. A lot weren't able to be done because of the age of them, or at the time I thought would be too expensive, or because a number of them were slightly unreliable as engines for whatever reason, you know, because of their age. I decided to sell all of my locomotives. Unfortunately, you know, you collect your locomotives over the years and you think, oh, I've got hundreds of pounds worth of stuff here, but they're never worth what you think they're worth to somebody that wants to buy them off you. So I went to a couple of shops, nothing wrong with the shops, you know, dealers and everything, but they were offering me about £200 or £300 maximum for everything that I had, and it just wasn't viable. There was no way that I could just give that amount. So I bit the bullet and I decided that I would have to sell everything through eBay. Not ideal. I tried one or two of the railway model groups that I was in, didn't really get any joy there, so eBay turned out to be my only way forward. But I did, on average, I earned about £35 per locomotive for the old DC style ones. It wasn't bad considering, and at the end I earned somewhere around about £1,500, which is now not bad considering I was offered about £300. That's nearly 5 times the amount. Yeah, I got charged something like £110 in fees from eBay, but you know, you've got to pay for these kind of services. So generally I was happy with what I got, and it's all been converted into buying a very similar controller to what Jenny's got, and I started off with half a dozen DCC locomotives, and then gradually I've sold other bits and pieces, buildings and other rolling stock and things, and again I've started to build up this collection. So hopefully, as and when the new Not Lobia or Winscott-Dale or whatever I decide to call it becomes, I've got a good fleet of locomotives. I've also increased my range of rolling stock, but it's not specific for a particular era. It's not, well, I would say it's not modern day. I'm not particularly interested in the very modern running. Love the layouts that do that, but it's not for me. So I like to have the old wagons. I like to weather them and make them look dirty and horrible, as it were. I've bought about 12 Grimsby fish wagons. Now Grimsby particularly doesn't mean anything to me, but Hull does, and Grimsby was the nearest.
What's your connection to Hull?
I went to the art college at Hull. I lived in Hull,
right.
lived in Hull in the red light district, and didn't even know I was in that for 3 years.
So you just thought there's all these nice women on the street.
I never even saw any of them. But anyway, that's one of the reasons I wanted a fish train, because I've got a harbour that I'm working on. I've also got the narrow gauge side of things, 009. I have about 4 little locomotives there. Again, it's not based on anywhere other than my love of the Welsh Highland miniature railways, or any narrow gauge railway. So that in Not Lobia used to meander all round this 600 square foot, up the mountains and everything. Hadn't finished it, I was still working on it, but to cut a long story short, 4 years ago I got diagnosed with the C word, and it's made me sort of rethink the kind of the future. So selling up, moving away, finding somewhere else to enjoy a happy retirement. At the moment the leukemia isn't having any problems, it's just regular checkups, but it is a nemesis that eventually is going to jump up and, you know, make me have to fight it, and I will fight it. Shan't sort of roll over or anything like that, but I want to spend the next good part of my retirement building a new layout, either in a loft, in a big garage, partly indoors, partly outdoors. I might have an O gauge layout as well, or I might try and make it so that the OO gauge can go into the garden. But initially, next year we are selling up the house after the business is sold, and moving probably back to the Midlands, which is my home territory. I come from Swaddling Coat, Winscott-Dale, as the layout would be called, and Ashby and Burton and Repton and all around there were my childhood days, although I can't remember what it was like now, and I know it's changed considerably. But I have a daughter who's getting married to a very nice young guy who's in the NCA, and my daughter's also in the police, and they are based in the Nottingham area. So they would like me and my wife to be within probably half an hour, 40 minutes journey of them, as opposed to the sort of 2.5 hours journey we are now. I think partly because we're getting older, things might go wrong, you know, so having family closer to, but also potentially being babysitting and this, that and the other. I have another daughter who lives up here, but the chances are that she may be moving to another part of the country or another part of the world, so there's no ties here at the moment. And although Bolton...
How long have you been in Bolton?
I've been in Bolton, well, I've been in Manchester since 1976, was it we got married?
So, well, I don't know.
Yes. So
You're supposed
40
to
years
know.
ago, 76, yeah. Since 1976 I've lived up here. My wife came from Manchester, from Walshaw. And,
Oh, right,
yeah. And as I said before, I met her in a traffic jam on holiday.
In the Lake
In the Lake
District,
District, yes. So quite a bad day for her that day.
Yeah, I've never met your wife.
She's lovely. She really is. She tolerates everything I do.
I've got one like that. She
Yes,
tolerates me.
yeah.
I know I make fun of the cupboard monkey in that, but it's actually I love her to bits, and I'm just so chuffed that she puts up with me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she could have been had for murder a few times, I dare say, because I've driven her up the wall. But you know, that's what marriage is like. We worked at it for 40 years together and 4 years not being married, So 44 years we've been an item.
No,
We were insulting you probably.
Yeah, you might as well take those pizzas away and put them in the fridge, unless you want a piece.
No, I am stuffed.
Me too. Yeah, put them in the fridge. Oh
no, I'm stuffed. No, thank you. So I think hopefully that's answered your question. It was.
You want a piece of me?
No, thank you. No.
You want a piece of me?
Ah, but it's Dalek bread.
Dalek bread. You are a Dalek. You will eat me. You will eat me. Exterminate.
Exterminate.
Don't open that.
But it was ironic for all of my life, and this is why my knowledge is so limited on trains per se. I've never had a following of trains, but as soon as I was bought this train set, literally it was just like my enthusiasm was switched on again. I'll have a cup of coffee, please. Yeah. Because there's just something magical about it. Don't know what it is. You know, people say, oh, you know, trains, it's only going round and round in circles.
No, but it's the creativity of the building. And, you know, I've found so many people who say much the same, that actually the most enjoyment they get out of building a model railway is the creativity of making that miniature world, of doing the scenery.
Well, I've looked at this as an extension from the fact that I have a degree in fine art. I'm not a practicing artist for painting. I'm a framer. I love what people do. I love framing their work and making it look something special. I've done stage painting when my daughters, a number of years back, when my daughters were in their early teens and treading the boards, amateur dramatics and stuff like that. I've had a few walk-on parts, dressed as a German soldier in
have you?
in the White Horse Inn. It's a bit like Sound of Music kind of thing.
Was it a film?
No, it was Tottington Amateur Operatic Society.
Oh, right.
So very, very, very enjoyable. And the operas that they did were quite comical and funny. But I got involved because my daughter opened her mouth one day and said, "Oh, my dad used to be a painter." And so I got roped into doing great big 8-foot by 10-foot flats, as they call them, the screen props. I once painted a huge backcloth of the Milky Way with the Earth and a Mars bar and a Milky Way flying through it, and planets and Saturn and this and rockets for a school production. And so that was a huge piece of work, but it was things that I enjoyed doing. So model railwaying to me is an extension of a canvas, you know, working with three-dimensional items. So as I've said before, the trains are only part of the jigsaw. The real fun, and it's a cliche, is the journey of making the landscape and creating a fictional world with people in that I give characters to, little scenarios, little dioramas where I put funny things, serious things, sad things. I mean, you know, I'm not akin to, not against doing murder scenes. I've got a little Dexter scene that I'll be setting up on the next layout. I've got the figures and everything, but there's a figure, decapitated head. I've got some little sex scenes. I don't have them proudly displayed. They're sort of in the seedy kind of situations. I've got a group of...
I've got zombies on this layout.
Well, I've got a group of prostitutes that are touting for trade down by an old mill, and I've got cars, you know, curb crawling. I've got things going on inside houses where the lights are sort of done red inside. And then I've just got people shopping. I've got kids playing in the fairground and things like that. So it's everyday life in miniature that I like trying to put my sort of take on it.
Somebody's just asked what DCC system I'm using. So it's the Gauge Master Prodigy Express 2 controller. So it's adequate for my needs. I got it by swapping for a Bachmann Class 55, which in all honesty I'd only paid about £50 for. Oh, it's come off the track. It's not happy there. It's a bit of a kink around here. I need to sort that out, I think. But I swapped it for a Bachmann locomotive that I'd only paid £50 for, so I think I got a really good deal. I do need to upgrade it because it does have limitations.
I think mine is the next one up. I'm not sure. Mine's the same colour as this. You'll have to see it anyway.
Because look, you bought yours off the back of seeing mine.
I did, yes. Thank you very much.
So,
One of the first things that was a bit of a knock for me when I first got into the model railwaying, though.
apparently you're Banksy.
I'm Banksy.
Yeah.
Oh, why?
You go around in the night and spray things on buildings.
Do I? All right, okay.
They're worth
That's why there's
millions.
so many Banksy stencils around Bolton. Of
Is there? Is that actually real Banksies?
course it's not.
That's the thing.
Jen,
How
do you believe everything I say?
No, no, no. And actually, I should believe less.
No, I was going to say, one of the knocks I first got early on that nearly put me off altogether was after Not Lobia had been published in the Bolton News, that I did an article and it was written up in the Hornby magazine.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was only a one-page thing about...
Did they pay you for it?
No, I just sent it.
Cheeky.
I mean, they haven't paid me for this railway modeller one, but...
I'll drop a hint to Steve Flint because he should be paying you for that.
But no, some character, I don't even know who he was, but because I wasn't used to being spoken to in a kind of derogative kind of fashion, because I thought I was doing all right. I knew I wasn't bad, I knew I wasn't brilliant, but I thought I was okay at what I was doing. But there was some quite derogative comments put by this one person.
What, in the Hornby magazine?
No, it was on the Hornby page as well. They had a Facebook page at the time, and he got put in his place by other people who said, you know, look, basically it's rule number one has to apply, and this guy, meaning me, you know, he's showing that this is what he can do, and yes, he's
Your
got.
model is brilliant.
Well-
Certainly, it was brilliant when it was there, and it's like anybody who criticises that is
Well-
clearly just looking for
Possibly,
trouble.
yeah. But anyway, it's, you know, I've been sort of shaking myself up and thought, right, yeah, I can do this, I'll carry on. I have done, but like a lot of people, we all know it's not particularly...
Oh, that didn't sound.
It made a funny noise, didn't it? Did it hit something? Did it hit that bit of solder?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Let's see what it does.
Yeah, we all know it's not specifically a cheap hobby, but it's a very enjoyable hobby, and I think it's worth the expense and the cost that's involved in making it. So I persevered, and like everybody else, we've gone through recessions. I've had a job that's kept me in employment, self-employed. It's paid me bills, paid me overheads, my mortgage and everything else, and kept me afloat. So when I've had a little bit of spare money that I can use, I've added to stuff. But it's always going to be a continually growing sort of hobby. Just hoping that I find adequate space in wherever I move to that will allow me to do something. I mean, I'd be quite happy to get the same kind of space that Jenny's got here, even though I know Jenny would agree this is only a fraction of the space I had. But it's amazing what you've created in here. And I also look to the fact that maybe I've got to think about doing various levels of a layout, maybe 3 levels, 3 tiers.
Well, this is on different
You're on
levels,
different-
because you've got the fiddly yard underneath,
under there.
the main level, and then there is the upper level
Yeah.
as well.
So, you know, if I can get a decent double-sized garage or a big spare room, something like that, I think that's probably where the next Not Lobia will be. Ideally, I'd like it downstairs so that the option to run a train into the garden will become feasible. But again, I don't know all the practicalities of the electric, how easy that would work. So again, I've got a lot of learning to do about the hobby. For me, at the moment, most of my time at work is spent doing the framing, with a few hours spent each day being able to do something to the railway. I've not been able to do anything at sort of weekends or in the evenings because I've been back home. So my railway building time is limited to the 9 AM to 6 PM, although sometimes I would go into work for 8 o'clock and I'd still be there at sort of 9:30 at night. But 3 or 4 hours a day would be the maximum, nothing in the evenings and nothing at the weekends. That will all change when I've retired. I'll have hopefully more time to do something, because Jenny's proved that you don't need necessarily hours and hours and hours and hours to build a good setup to get you started. So I'm hoping that I'll find a means of creating something at least of this standard within a few months of
Yeah, I mean, you work quicker than me, to be honest. I've got a real big issue with
What?
this. We've got nothing but dead shorts. Oh.
what's happened? Has it picked up something?
It's actually pulled its pickup round and jammed it back into the wheel.
Oh dear.
Could you grab me, in one of those drawers, you'll find a small jeweler's screwdriver.
A small screwless screwdriver.
Yeah, oh, and it would also appear some of the brake blocks are misaligned as well. You tend to get this. I'm sorry, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just, in fact, let's have a look at... all right, thank you. I'm not ignoring you all. I'm just trying to get this locomotive to run. One of the things I'm doing is, because people did ask about getting other locomotives to run, I'm just working my way through various locomotives, and I've really run into a few issues with this. It's one of the Bachmann 56XX tanks, and
Is that the smoke box open at the front on that one? Because I think I've got that one, or very similar to that.
no, I've never checked. I don't think so. No, it doesn't seem to. No, it doesn't seem to want to. But just trying to sort that out.
So what would cause that to throw it?
I don't know. Sometimes I find it, especially with steam locomotives, that they have this really irritating habit of just developing niggly faults, and you think, I've never messed about with it, so why is it doing its thing? So loco 6658.
Go. Don't go.
I hope it hasn't blown the chip, because it somehow managed to lock up. So I'm going to put that on the programming track. Just try and read it. Now that is interesting. I think that my DCC controller has crashed. So I'm going to do the age-old way of fixing all problems electronic. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to turn it back on again.
That's not the age-old method. The first method is hitting it with something and shouting at it.
And there we go.
And teaching it to fly.
I can hear it reading it, I think. No, it's not happy. We may have a blown chip. That would be the first time I have ever run into this difficulty. So, program track, read. I'm going to put that on there. And I'm going to...
Oh, did it move then?
Yeah. Might be alright here. Let's see, Prodigy Advances. There's a lot of people recommending different DCC systems. It's certainly, I've heard a lot of mixed things about various different DCC systems, and that's now decided it's not going to read.
Have you got another chip you can put back into that?
Not a spare one. There it goes. Could just be poor pickups.
Computer's disappeared.
Oh, yeah, I'll make that come back up.
Excuse me.
It is trying to read it, but it's not picking up the actual thing. Yeah, Jenny has broken. Let's have a look. Let's just see what the track makes of it. So, Loco 6658 is not moving. So, has it factory resetted itself? So let's try it as number 3. No. I'm going to reset the system again.
Are all your other engines working?
I'll get to that in a bit. I don't know. Right. Program track. I'm going to just program it as... I can feel it doing something. Right, I've put it on the program track and reprogrammed it as 6658. So all the little tricks that I've learned. Sometimes if you get a spike for whatever reason, it resets to factory defaults and you'll find it suddenly turned into address number 3. Don't ask me how it does it or why it does that. Sometimes it does. If you just can't find it, you can't read it, you can't do anything like that. Sometimes forcibly overwriting and telling it like you will be this address. Sometimes that works. And there we go. Problem solved. So it's not a blown chip. And it's interesting actually. Just make sure it doesn't jump the track. I get a lot of issues in that corner with things jumping the track. I have actually found a lot of chips that people claim, the chip blew, aren't actually blown. It's like they've scrambled their settings, and you can do a kind of a force reset and they're back up and running. And I actually, strangely enough, I had a chip that probably about 10 years ago, a friend of mine who was a big convert into DCC, don't know him anymore, but he blew a chip. We were at an exhibition and he blew a chip and tried everything he could. I didn't know anything about DCC then, so he replaced it. It was hardwired into, what the hell's going on here? For some reason the loco is now running, but it's not running reliably. But essentially he decided that the chip was blown and it was hardwired into the loco, so he's like clipped it out, bought a new chip at the show, soldered it in, away went the loco, and this chip ended up underneath the traverser on Grove Street Yard. And for 10 years it's been underneath the traverser in all the muck and the spare bolts and stuff, and I found it at the Model Railway exhibition I've just been to, and I was looking at it, and now I know something about DCC chips I didn't back then. I was looking at it and thinking, I wonder if this will actually work, because there was no sign of burning anywhere on it. So I blew all the dirt off it, and bear in mind it had been rolling around with nuts and bolts and dust and dirt for 10 years, unloved, uncared for. It was surprising how resilient these things are, because I soldered it into a locomotive, and you know what? When I did a forced factory reset, it just sprang back into life, and it was like, boom, free DCC chip. Cottesmore says, I still have one of the old push-button Hornby sound boxes somewhere. They were great back in the day. I remember seeing them in the catalogue. Never heard one in action. But, different days. We're in days before all this technology. Right, let's see if I can find a loco that will run reliably. The trouble is that this innermost line seems to be very, very finicky. So, actually, we haven't had a Class 8 running in a long time. So let's have a Hornby Class 8. So close up there. Oh, there's the lens. This is the locomotive that I am planning on running. It's not sound fitted. In fact, it's my only Hornby Class 8 that's not sound fitted. But it just happens to be in the livery that's in keeping with what the rest of the locos on the layout are at the moment. Oh, I'm disappearing into this seat. Right, so loco 3509. 3509. I don't know why I was just saying that. It's not run in a good long while, so sometimes you find they just have like a layer of oxide or dirt on the wheels and pickups. Right, there we go. Hopefully that'll get round all right. We've just got to watch it. It's that point over there. And it's the thing that you should always look out for when you're laying track is try and make sure that everything is really well tested before you ballast and glue stuff down. Oh, what is it doing? Come here, you. There we go, got it.
So what fetched the truck off?
Because it felt like it. Yeah, Lego Man Biffo sound. I've heard a lot of good things about that. It is expensive though. I don't have any Lego Man Biffo chips because unfortunately it's there.
Could it be this, Jenny?
Just yeah, there's like a kink in the track, and I only noticed
Bit
it.
of extra. You run your nail there.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Let's just.
Excuse my back, everybody.
Yeah, no, you talk to the nice people. We're not ignoring you. You talk to them. Come on, you just talk to them. I'm gonna do some minor track adjustments with it, with a bit of brute. Oh, did you hear that?
I did.
I've got dodgy knees.
Yeah.
So you talk to the nice people.
So what were we talking about? Let's have a look what some of the questions are.
Get in there.
Brook Lane. Where are we? Housing class. Les, when do your new layout? What era are you planning to do? Warrington Train Spotters. Well, continuing, it won't be of a specific era or specific place. It will just be, again, fictional. But this time, not Lobia. Instead of having not Lob maybe as the main station, it will be Winscott Dale or something like that, an anagram of Swaddling Coat. But it will be purely fictional and probably still based on a similar kind of time era between the 1950s to the 1980s, but not sort of set in stone.
So today we've got, hello guys, just popped up because Jenny has decided that the best thing to do on her live program is to stick her ass to the camera and start scratching at her railway.
We had people getting told off for the language, Zoe, so we have a bottom here.
Okay, she's put her rear onto the camera.
I was hiding your bottom.
Oh, were you?
Oh, see this? Jenny can't possibly let anyone else sit on her throne.
This is Jenny's throne. So,
with her DVD set inside.
It's not a commode.
No, it's not a commode.
No. And it's also not...
It causes commotion, but it's not a commode.
Yeah, something like that. Right, let's see if this gets round all right. Oh!
Hey, what do you like?
Anyway, question, Jenny. Do you prefer purchasing second-hand and old DC locos and converting them yourself, or newer DCC ready-fitted locos? A bit of both, to be honest with you.
You've got the skills, haven't you? So
yeah, and actually, as you'll see, I think it's Wednesday's video. There will be. Is that going round okay?
Yeah, it seems to be.
Wednesday's video and doing a full review of the Class 122 that's available through Hatton's in their sale at the moment. And I'm
editing it right now.
Yeah,
honest.
Lovely.
I'm taking a break to come and annoy Jen, but I'm editing it right now.
And you are managing to annoy me really quite well. Yeah. So in that you'll see a DCC fitting guide. I do it in how long does it take me to fit the chip?
About 30 seconds.
About 30 seconds. Once I've got the lid off, you're looking at that. It's so easy to fit a chip in so many of these locos. It really is not worth you paying somebody else on top of the cost of the chip. Like in some instances, I've seen 30, 40, 50 pounds quoted for DCC fitting locomotives, and really that is money that you can save quite readily. So if you watch that, we've got the DCC fitting guide of the, I'm going to just notice it's just out of shot. So for this, 30 seconds once I got the lid off. Getting the lid off wasn't all that difficult.
I am fully of the opinion that you are going to be the death of the pay-to-DCC chip market. It's going to be you. Telling people that you don't have to do it and showing them how to do it and showing that it's not worth 30 quid. Do it yourself. Get a set of screwdrivers from Wilkinson's or something and go at it.
Yeah, I mean, where's my screwdriver?
Jen's doing
That is all you need. That, seriously, people, get yourself a set of these. They're dirt cheap. You can get them in so many different places.
Remember that Beatles song, "Love Is All You Need"? Well, actually, they meant screwdrivers.
Is all you need. The only difficult thing sometimes is finding which of the screws and how to separate the bodies from the chassis. One or two can be a little bit.
They can be
fiddly,
tricky.
can't
I
they?
mean, that class 122 was fiddly, but as long as you know what you're doing, there's a technique and a trick, and it generally just works. The ones
I'm
that
off to
I've bog off. But also
Fine,
I've got I've also done a video which is how to DCC chip older non-DCC ready locomotives.
And
So-
it caused a shortage in the market.
Oh
chips.
yeah, that's another thing I caused to sell out. The Hornby 4-pin chips, because I was telling everybody they're the cheapest chips on the market, the best for hardwiring. They sold out, not just at all the retailers, but Hornby ran out of them as well, and they're currently on back order.
Well, Jen fitted all of mine only because, again, I've not got the experience, but having listened to her talk and seen her do one or two
Yeah.
things, I will be
like
having a go
this.
at mine eventually.
Let's see if I can. I don't want to get it a bit too showboaty because I might damage it. But
But I do pay Jenny for the chips and everything.
oh yeah, you
and-
buy the chips. I don't charge
and
you for fitting
I will
them.
be doing other work for her and pro rata, as
Oh
it
yeah,
were,
like the back scene.
for the back
that we've been
scenes and
talking about.
helping. So,
That sounds like one of those. I think it's the front one. For some reason, that front one is really.
I'll do back to backs on the wheels needing to be.
Hey, you're picking up the terminology. I don't know. I think it's just it's the coupling. It's.
Is it a different coupling
Yeah.
to the front of the engine?
So there we go. Whilst we've been talking, there's the lid. DCC chip is underneath this cover. Pull that off. Chip's just sat in there. To get it out, and same as the blanking plate, if you want to get the blanking plate out, all you need to do, large flathead jeweler's screwdriver, and don't just lever it all the way on one side, lever it a little bit on that side, and then go and do the other side a little bit, and just alternate until you get that
Pops out.
to pop out. There's your chip. Imagine that's a blanking plug. Whiz it. Here's your chip. You pin one. Your locating pin on a 21 pin. I don't know if you can see that. On what will be the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see that there's like a 1 pin to itself. On the model, you'll see that there's a 1 pin to itself there. It's gone and done the same. I'll when it comes round, I'll sort that out. Line that up.
Let's see if I can see where it happens when it comes.
It's the point behind you. It's really irksome. Line it up, and then when it's lined up, just gently push that down. Cover over the top. I got that the right way around. Yeah.
Is it this bit of where the join is? Because there's a bit.
There's a bit there I need to.
I'll just check as it goes round.
It's alright. I can probably fix it by moving the stuff around. And then, to be honest, quite often the trickiest thing is getting the body back on, more than anything else. So, boom, done. And that, my friends, is how you DCC fit a class 122. Oops, no you don't. You're naughty, being naughty.
What's happening? What would happen if you ran a loco without a chip or blanking plug?
If you have no blanking plug or chip in, nothing happens. It's basically completely isolated. So no power will get to it on either DC or DCC. So one little tip for you is if you have a DCC layout but you have DCC ready locomotives but which are not yet fitted, you can have them on that layout if you just remove the blanking plug, and then you won't risk damaging the motor. They'll just sit on the track, they won't respond, they won't do anything, but you can, like put them in sidings, things like that, without worrying about burning out the motor. Yeah, Fly Mode Chairman 1, too right. That unmistakable sound of a wheel rattling the sleepers. I hate that noise. Brockwell Lane, don't whiz your blanking plate, put it back in the box. Yeah, I was just being a little bit facetious. I've got a big box full of blanking plates, and you Bachman charge you for a box of 10 blanking plates is about 10 quid. So there is a market for them. Always worth keeping them, because you never know when you're going to sell a locomotive on or something like that. Or even just I don't know, you just decide you're going to move your chips around. If you're on a budget, you can move chips between locos.
So, just showing my ignorance here, if you've got a locomotive that you've DCC fitted, you've taken out the blanking plate, put the DCC chip in, then you decide to sell it on to somebody, but they only want it as DC.
Yeah.
If you take the chip out but don't put the blanking plate back in,
It just won't work.
But if you put the blanking plate in,
It will work on
on
DCC,
DC.
yeah.
Right. Sorry, repeating it, but I'm
Yeah. So like that's the very strange blanking plug, which has actually got the capacitor for the suppression circuit, I guess. It's actually out of your Oxford Rail N7.
That's right.
It is where that's from. But yeah, I've got a big box full of various blanking plates. I don't keep them all. Sometimes if I'm in a mood, I throw them away. Usually if it's been a really tough job, I'm just like, get out of it. But yeah, I Like Transport, a fantastic tutorial on the body removal. Well, thank you very much. And actually, a lot of locomotives are that easy. There's not even any screws to hold them. Not all of them.
We had a bit of fun with the Cadley Hill one, didn't we? That was
the Cadley Hill one. This is the J94, the Hunslet Austerity. Getting the body off this took a little bit of work. We did get there in the end. But I'll just pick a random loco and show you how easy it can be. So, here we are. Class 22, body removal. Can you see that? Yes, you can. All you're doing is you're putting your fingernails very carefully underneath the body sides. So that's how long my fingernails are. They don't need to be super long to do that. But all you're doing is you can feel, there's like a little bit of spring. Now put the locomotive fairly close to something that it's not going to just fall on the floor. And all you're doing is prising it apart, and boom, the chassis just drops out. And you can see with these, they're hardwired. Unless you remove that plug there, you don't want to put too much strain on that. And then on this, you can see there's the DCC chip. So bish, bash, bosh. Some of these are just the easiest in the world to get into. So just, I've accidentally knocked the cab windows out. So you see?
Oh yes, like that's what happened with the model that I had.
Unfortunately, as it turns out, Daypol glue their cabs in. And
Can you reach it or?
yeah, that's a bit interesting there, isn't it? Can I force it to lie straight? Yes, I can. Right. What I can do is very carefully talk to the nice people whilst I'm
While she's struggling to put that back in. Yes.
Whilst I'm cocking up.
No, you're not. You're doing a grand job.
Right. I'm going to put the body back on.
Hope that they don't flip out. Yeah, I had a set of windows and windscreen wipers go missing on one of mine, but they did turn up.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let gravity be my co-pilot there whilst I prep up a little bit of super glue. And then what I need to do is I'm just going to put a tiny amount of super glue at the frame edge.
Just to catch that window, stop it.
Yeah, it'll just, let me just try and get a tiny little bit on the end. And all that'll do is it just stops the window from being able to fall back in. It's just enough on the edge, a little bead to hold it in place, and then just be blooming careful next time and don't put your great big fat finger on the window. So, there we go. So there you have it. I mean, that's how easy some of these locomotives are to get into. Ooh.
Well, I'm going to have to be a party pooper. It's 10 to 10, it's cowboy time.
Oh,
10 to 10 to 10 to 10 to 10 to 10.
Yeah, Les can't stay out and play any longer. I'm afraid Les has to go home now. Bedtime, Les. Bedtime, Les. But we're coming up on 3 hours. But
Yes.
Sean Millard, are you going to put a scrap engine on your layout? No immediate plans to, but it's one of your little.
I've got lots of scrap engines. Many I've made myself. Some that I bought from Halcyon Yard or something like that. But yeah, I just like the old kind of Barry Island or whatever it was, where all the old locos went to die. I just love rust and decay. That's why I've got old mills and derelict buildings and things. So I've got about a dozen scrap engines. Some that I got off eBay that were broken, cost me pennies more than anything. Some that are plastic Daypol air fixed kits. A couple, unfortunately, that met with an unsavoury accident by falling off the board and couldn't be repaired. But generally speaking, most of them haven't cost me very much to scrap.
Somebody asked just how easy steam locomotive bodies are to come off. Well, actually, some locomotives, such as this is the BT well tank from Daypol, just with the fingernail, the smoke box door is held on by magnets, and you can see in there's a little daughter board that with a pair of tweezers or pliers you can very carefully draw out on the end of a wiring loom, and that's where you put the DCC chips. You don't even need to take the body off with some of these really quite nicely designed locomotives.
You're giving it a lot of food for thought, haven't you?
Yeah, it's actually now I just got to get that, there we go. So actually you might get quite lucky, and some steam locomotives it really is a case of just a single screw, and actually what you find is that a lot of tender locomotives the DCC socket is in the tender, and the tender there'll be a single screw and you just take the body of the tender off. You don't even have to mess about with the locomotive, so you know they're not necessarily all that difficult. But yeah, apparently your car is in danger of turning into a pumpkin.
My car is probably frozen solid, I don't know, but yeah, no, I must go. So apologies again to everybody, but thank you very much.
Well, it's coming up on 10 o'clock. So we've been going now for nearly 3 hours.
3 hours, yes.
So we're going to start rounding this off. It's been great.
Come round with a hat.
Yeah, tips please. I mean, we do have Super Chat enabled, but it doesn't mean, you know, I don't like fishing for money. I always think that's a bit, you know, it's just nice to hang out with you guys. And don't forget, if you're going to be at Worley this Sunday, look out for me. I'll be wandering around. I know Cottesmore's there at the Hornby magazine stand. Was it Hornby magazine he said, or was it BRM?
I think it was Hornby.
Hornby magazine stand. So Cottesmore and New Junction will be there as well. So New Junction was definitely in the room earlier on.
Thanks to everybody for all their good wishes.
Yeah,
for
thank
my
you.
future and everything. And I'll be chatting with many of you again in the coming weeks. And don't forget.
And don't forget that you can help support me and give me money by buying my books. It's coming up to Christmas. They're a really great present. They're really great books. These got rave reviews. They were out in 2008, this particular one, and its sequel, Twinkle Little Star. Also, we've got the comic book collections. You can buy them through allmousemedia.com or indeed through Amazon Marketplace. There's stuff on there as well. And if you're really lucky, you can track them down in Branches of Waterstones too. Also, don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't already done so. If you've already liked it, don't try and like it again, because all it'll do is take your like back off. But also, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. You'll be the first to know about new videos as and when they go up. But until next time, this is me, Jenny Kirk, with my good friend Les Cliff, saying bye for now, and hopefully we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Yes, definitely.
And in the meantime, maybe if I bump into Dave at Cottesmore tomorrow at Hatton's, then maybe I can persuade him to come on again next Monday as the magical mystery guest. But until next time, you all take really good care of yourself. It's been absolutely brilliant to have your company.
Wrap up warm.
Yeah, wrap up cool. Be
warm.
Careful, and you know, all of you overseas, if you're somewhere like Australia, you be careful with all those bushfires. And we are thinking of you because it's obviously must be scary as hell.
So, yes.
So you know, everybody just take care, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to look out for Videos coming up on Wednesday. We've got that lovely Class 122 bubble car review. But until then, you take really good care of yourself. And I Like Transport, Jenny's website is just up there. So
Give Not Lobia a like as well if you can on Facebook.
Definitely. I Like Transport. You are a star, an absolute star. I think you're going to earn yourself an honorary invite to that Garden Party Monday Club, even if you aren't a big ticket Patreon. So thank you very much for that. And don't forget, share this everywhere you can. Tell everybody you know. But until next time, I'm going to stop yabbering away now. Yeah. And look, you just take really good care of yourselves.
Good night, everybody.
See you later.
Good night from me.
And this is the awkward bit at the end of the stream when it's like, what do we press? Is that it?